everybody,
Hello.
and welcome to the podcast.
It's not just the podcast. It's the Macad podcast universe.
You got that right, and I'm glad you clarified that, Jordan. We are a very specific podcast, and we do a specific thing. What is
we
that
only
thing?
exist for one reason.
Is that to prove people wrong when they say sequels are never better than the originals?
Uh-huh.
And today we're finishing up Back to the Future.
Yes.
And we're going to be testing that theory.
Yeah?
Today.
Yeah?
And we brought some of our favorite guests. Now, I realized this the other day. The first time Jeremy and Dan Eden were on this podcast was Jurassic Park 3. And then Dan guested on our Spider-Man No Way Home, which is a third movie in a trilogy. And now here we are, and Dan is on another third episode. Jeremy has broken that because his second appearance was Batman v Superman. But
true.
It is your third appearance. You're rounding out Back to the Future 3. 3.
That's it for me, guys. This is it after this one.
And hey, what do 3 and 3 make? 9, 90. I mean,
wow.
90 under 90, which is a great
Beautiful.
plug for the great podcast.
there you go. It's just everything in my life now revolves around multiples of 3 or 9.
It's like the number 23 with Jim Carrey.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys play
Except
saxophone?
threes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, great.
No, true story. I played saxophone in 5th grade for sign up for band.
Uh-huh.
My parents bought me the saxophone, and then I quit after 5th grade because I got tired of carrying it to school once a week.
It's kind of a big
story.
case for a 5th grader.
True story. Alto sax, not that big. Like it was,
And this is, and of course, Bill Clinton inspired you to take up sax, right, Jared?
yes, it was the president of the United States himself, William Jefferson Clinton.
Perfect.
That's inspired. No,
And you know what? That's
I
great.
had no
You're
inspiration.
talking about history, because what is Back to the Future if not our history as a country?
Well,
I buy all of it. I mean, every it's all historically accurate.
Yep.
And yeah, all that happened. There is a town called Hill Valley. Real things.
Clock Tower.
Everybody's got
Frisbees? Genuinely
ZZ
learned
Top.
about that.
ZZ Top,
Yeah.
yeah. So you two have, because we have texted many a time. We've had many conversations that haven't even been recorded, folks. And it seems like you two are both pretty big Back to the Future guys. So I would love to hear your Back to the Future story.
Jer?
Well, I mean, I was born in 85 at the very tail end of it. So, this movie has always existed in my life. And I don't remember the first time I was exposed to it, but I'm sure it was right around, 4 or 5, just when when you're old enough to comprehend movies,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
probably around, 89 or 90. And yeah, it's just a movie that I don't remember a time when I didn't love this movie series. It's just, because it was right there when I was like an infant, basically.
Uh-huh.
It's just always been a part of my life. It's, Michael J. Fox when I was like 6 years old or something like that in kindergarten or first grade, and we had to write a letter to, somebody you admired. I chose Michael J. Fox was the actor
Wow.
that
Heck yeah.
I wrote to.
I love that.
I chose
and
Biff
then
Tannen.
and then also, very minorly connected to this was, Batman 89 has always been a part of my life. So when, those movies were getting made and my dad was, reading whatever tabloids not tabloids, but, whatever trade magazines he was reading or newspaper, whatever, because pre-internet, however he got his movie news, he was there to, mention, like they're thinking about Michael J. Fox as Robin for a movie at one point. I remember that was like just discussed. And I was just like, oh, like the connection of two of my favorite things.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That would have been fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, that would have been a great casting.
I mean, by the time they got to it, he was a little old to be
Was
doing,
he? Okay.
to be doing Robin. Yeah. But still, like, I have no other there's been no time in my life where Back to the Future wasn't a part of it. And I don't remember like discovering the movie because it was there when I was so young that it's just built into my DNA. Like my boys will have no memory of discovering the Muppets because they've always been there, so
Yeah.
they'll just be like, where? Yeah, I guess it's just a part of my life, Muppets, and same for me and Back to the Future.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's very sweet.
I love that.
What about you, Dan?
Yeah, pretty much the same reasons, except I was born in '88. So, Jared's being an older brother, I'm sure he introduced that to me very young. It's always been around and I've always enjoyed it. I think it's just a really likable cast, really exciting story. I always thought Steven Spielberg was the only filmmaker as a young kid.
Yeah,
I thought
I think every kid thinks that.
he definitely directed this movie is what I thought to myself. But yeah, it's always been around. It's just you gotta love it. It's I mean, you don't have to, but it's hard not to.
Yeah,
you kind of have to, or you have to have some pretty strong arguments that I don't really care to hear.
I mean, obviously at this point we have not heard your previous 2 episodes as of this recording, but I mean, it's kind of like hard to argue that whether you like it or not, the first movie is like a structurally like pretty perfect movie.
It is.
We use the word perfect a lot.
A lot in that episode. It's an
very
easy
hard,
10 out of 10.
When you start that strong, you get a lot of goodwill. And then especially with what they do in the second movie, it just, it reminds you of everything you love about the original movie and more. And then you get this one, which is, I mean, we can unpack it as we go.
Yeah. Well, do you two have any specific memories or whatever involved with this movie that we're covering right now?
Well, Back to the Future, like, again, it always being a part of our lives, and my dad's VHS compilations always being a part of our lives too. My dad back in the day was a big crash editor. We would take, 2 VCRs and we had a lot of illegal copies of movies, and he liked, he liked to record on SLP. So that'd be like, you could get usually 3 movies on a 6-hour VHS tape.
Oh, heck yeah.
The spine would be labeled with the actor or the theme. In this case, Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. And to the best of his abilities at the time, he cut all 3 movies together as one long thing. So,
oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
I mean, the transition from 2 to 3 was terrible. There was some mistake in there, but 1 to 2, near perfect. It just went right into the second movie. The garage opened and you were in Back to the Future 2.
So cool.
So, like for me, this movie was almost always the whole series that we were watching. We'd put in the tape on a Saturday or whatever, and it would be just going like all day long. That's how I remember watching these movies, was just on that VHS tape straight through 1, 2, and 3. Almost never like, oh, let's just start with number 2 or let's just watch 3. It was just nope.
Yeah.
Beginning of the tape to the end.
Anything for you, Dan, or same situation?
I guess that means that now, Jared, did he cut it so that the garage opens on 2 and we see How About a Ride, Mister from Elizabeth Shue?
Yes.
So we, as a kid, I did not get to see the Claudia Wells last scene in the garage. I was immediately, I feel really screwed over, I feel really like he kind of gaslit us, as kids. And I feel abused to a certain degree.
It wasn't until, I'm sorry. It wasn't until we were like 15 or 16 that we actually saw it, because that's the other thing about that VHS tape was that Back to the Future was recorded off of television.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
so it was edited.
Right.
And so he wasn't screaming, holy shit. He was screaming, holy jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, was that right too?
Yeah. So
we talked about the best Back to the Future edit we've ever seen was at a hotel in Wisconsin. And they, for some reason, thought it would be okay to cut out son of a. So he'd be like, you cost $300 damage to my car, you bitch. And we're like, what the fuck is this?
I have never seen that version again on television. That
Whoa.
That's
like a-
amazing.
Wow.
I think I was like 15 before I actually saw the full, like, unedited Back to the Future 1. Like, everything was there.
Yeah.
Like, there was no scenes missing or anything. It was just a couple of shits were replaced with G's.
And he's looking,
So-
he hits the truck and he says, I'm gonna get that bitch. Fucking in the TNT version or something.
Whoa.
So that's got to be the ass to asshole logic, right? Where like when you
Yes.
watch a show
Or
and they go
goddamn.
ass beep,
Mhm.
and it's kind of like I don't know why you're not beeping the part that's technically the swear.
Yeah.
You're beeping the whole.
The
Which
whole.
is
'Cause
something anyone
that's what
says.
makes it bad. You can say
Yeah.
ass, you can't say whole. Because if you're saying no, literally, this is the mentality of it: is if you say asshole, you are then also referring to a part of the body, and that is what they have a problem with.
Yeah.
But if you say whole,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
definitely referring to, you know.
You can say whole. You can refer to a woman's
Come
whole.
on.
Like
Come
you can. It's just that's just how it,
I
like
know
the
you can, I
stupid
mean.
censorship laws and rules work.
Yeah. By the way, I think you just because we run a fairly clean ship over here, and I
Yeah,
think
did
you
we
just
push it to the explicit?
No, well, it was already, but that's fine.
Oh.
But I think you got me to say asshole. I
Oh
think
my
which has never
gosh,
been
dude,
said
Peer pressure.
from
Wow.
our
Really?
side of the couch
Oh,
on the
man.
pod. So
we are bad influences. I'm sorry.
I know. Rick's
We
parents
are.
were right.
Yeah, they were.
no, I think you should
We
wear it
did
as a
swear
badge
too
of
much.
honor.
Yeah, we're
I
cursors.
think I read somewhere that intelligent people curse a lot. So I was like, fuck yeah, when I read that. So cool.
Oh man, we're already off to a wonderful start. I'm loving this.
What about you, Micah, with this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's
so
not take over here.
for you two, Back to the Future 1, saw it as a kid, loved it. It took like years before I saw Back to the Future 2. And I kind of was like, oh, that's okay. I kind of like it. It's no 1. And then I saw 3 and I was like, not very good. And then I watched 3 again and I was kind of like, oh no, it's pretty good. It's just a little boring. And then we watched it last night and that was, I think, only my third viewing. And I was like, I think this movie's pretty dang good. I mean, and not to put it all out front, but I'm going to put it all out front. On this viewing, which this series has fluctuated quite a bit. It's usually only each time I watch it, the movies always improve. It's never taken a dive. But I think I like this one better than the second one.
Well,
I was really into it this time.
I don't personally agree, but I get that sentiment. Because number 3, I think if anyone who's a critic of number 3, it's because it's just it's so different and it's not a modern, we're not seeing anything modern really in the movie. And I think that kind of throws people off. It's just like, I don't want to see a Western. I want to see time traveling. But like when you're in the second movie and you're like, well, we got to go back into the original movie.
Yeah. Which I mean, I love.
Where do you go from there?
yeah.
What kind of back and forth adventure can you have? So, by itself, Back to the Future 3 is a great movie. As a part of the trilogy, I get the criticism. I don't agree with it. And I would say that for me, 2 and 3 are, equally as good for different reasons.
Well, and I think that in the past, I've been a little like the romance of Doc Brown is a little like, okay.
Puke. It's probably
But-
what you were saying.
Probably. And this time I was totally swept away in it. And I was like, oh, I like how they like gave him an arc in this movie. And it's very sweet. And I was like so in. I was not bored at all last night. I was just like, I don't know how I didn't like love this from the get-go.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at with Back to the Future 3.
Okay.
It's your turn, Jordan.
This was my first official time watching this movie ever in my life.
Oh, really?
I've seen the end. I've seen them getting out of the West and getting back to the present. Well, Marty. And then I didn't see the in-between stuff. And I've also seen Doc's time machine train.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the only stuff I've seen in my life. So all of this was new.
Okay.
And I
The
liked it a
joy
lot.
of discovery.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was great because I've always heard it like it's the worst one and it sucks and it's boring. That's what I've always heard.
I think I've said that.
But I liked it a lot. It was good.
I saw that on IMDb. I had rated this 5 today, and I was like, "Excuse me? Like, what are you talking about? 5?
How dare you?
How dare you, me?"
Yeah.
So,
You rectify that?
well, I removed the rating because I don't really rate anymore.
Oh, okay.
But I just rate 5 stars and then hearts and no hearts. That's it on
Great.
Letterboxd. And you know what? I felt personally attacked listening to your Pulp Fiction episode because Dan, you said, I know friends that cavalierly throw around the 5-star rating, and I know you're talking about me.
No, I'm not. I am not. I am not. I'm talking about Charlie. I'm talking about our boy Charlie. That's who I'm talking about. He when he has an opinion, it's like the other day we were at movie club, we watched Panic Room, great time, but I was like, aren't you a little cautiously optimistic about House of Dragon? He's like, no, let me tell you why it's going to be a great show. That's how he
decided
gets
beforehand.
Yes, and I was like, okay, all right, dude. Like,
that sounds like your dad, Micah. It's seriously anything he watches, he will text you. That was great.
That's true. Love you, Dad,
Period.
and I know you're listening, but sometimes you're a little lax on your criticisms, and that's great.
Me, I don't dole out the 5 stars. Like I'm very miserly with my 5 stars, and that's the problem. I think with me is maybe I should be more lax with my reviews. But,
I usually give out. It seems like probably 2 or 3 new releases a year really capture me. And then I'll probably watch 2 or 3 others throughout the year that I'm like, I've never seen this movie, and that movie's perfect. But it's all subjective.
Right on.
Come on.
Did you give Prey 5 stars?
I did not give Prey 5 stars.
Okay.
Should I have given it 5 stars?
Did you see Prey?
I did.
Okay, well, hey, you give it what you gave it. I wouldn't give it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, though. I was wondering if someone who really enjoyed it would give it 5 stars. And I don't know if Charlie did, to be fair. So anyway.
I sort of Prey, I kind of didn't totally like it.
Really?
I thought the concept was like 20 out of 10, like amazing concept. But watching it, I was a little like, okay. It never like fully captured me. But I love Predator stuff, so I was still like happy to watch it,
I think I could tie this. Okay. Unlike Back to the Future, though, I think that the era negatively defines the movie for me, because I don't want a Back to the Future Western, but I do want a Comanche era Predator movie, it turns out. So it's weird how that works out. My favorite parts of this movie is when they get back to Hill Valley, like at the end. Like in its present day, I'm like, let's spend more time here. Like, even though things seem to be perfect, I bet there's going to be conflict. I mean, Needles is this is going to be a fateful accident. Spoilers, a potentially fateful accident here. So I like spending the time in the sandbox of the suburbs of Hill Valley. And I'm like, this is the Western thing.
Yeah. Hey, I mean,
That's usually the point of the day where we'd be done playing together and Dan would take his toys into the bedroom and I would just be laying on the couch finishing the series.
I guess so. Hey, count me out, man.
Well,
I like 2 a lot more than 3 personally.
Yeah. Which, I mean, conceptually wise, it's much more ambitious, and I like that about it. And the whole, going back as a filmmaker, being like, how can we look at the other movie we made and then remake it in a different way is brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And this one's a little more straightforward. Definitely. But I was swept away in it. I was swept in the wonder of seeing Marty navigate being a Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
And that was getting
with his tassel-y shirt that Doc said. Doc's like, he's gonna get his ass kicked out here, and he's like kind of snickering. He gives him the shitty clothes.
Is he Rodney Dangerfield in this?
boy, I tell you, he's gonna get his ass kicked. He's gonna get no respect out there.
I am remembering, actually, I believe the first scene I ever saw of any Back to the Future things was like flipping through the channels. I mean, there's a chance I'd seen something in that first, those shots that were always in like Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff where it shows them the first time they time travel. But I just remember
Doc sitting up has been in more trailers than any more commercials for Blu-rays. And anytime there's a new medium, Doc is sitting up amazed.
Or checking his watch.
Yeah. There's like 5 shots in that movie that are like always the go-to if Universal's involved. I think it's Universal. Yeah.
Proving how good that movie is.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that I was like at maybe a hotel or something on a family vacation, flipping through the channels, and maybe it's on TNT or something. And I just saw that scene where Marty is at the bar, and what's the character's name? It's not Biff.
Buford.
Buford. He says dance, and then he starts doing the moonwalk. And I was like, that is one of the funniest things that has ever happened. I thought it was so freaking hilarious. And then it was always like, what was that movie that thing happened, you know? And then I think when I watched Back to the Future 1, I was like, why aren't, like, I thought they went to the West in this.
How
What's
come he's
going
not
on?
dancing?
Yeah, where's that dance joke?
This is the moonwalk.
Let's get into some details here. We got the same crew as the first 2 movies. We still got Zemeckis directing, Bob Gale, Robert Zemeckis writing, Alan Silvestri doing the score, which props to you, Alan, for still making that epic Back to the Future score and then doing the Western spin on it.
I feel like he had to have had fun.
Come
doing
on.
this one.
I really dig that like if you listen to like the whole suite of like the Back to the Future like score, like theme songs, it's when they get into that Western, it's like, all right.
Yeah. And yet it's still, you know, if you're paying attention, it still has those themes, but they're just Westernized. It's just too good. And then, of course, we got Dean Cundy on cinematography again. And so Back to the Future 2 came out in 1989, November, and this comes out May 25th, 1990. To remind listeners, they filmed Back to the Future 2 and 3 at the same time. And so I have this quote about it. So Zemeckis would wrap photography and he would board a private plane to Burbank where Gale and engineers would greet him on the dubbing stage with dinner. He would oversee the reels completed that day and make changes where needed, referring to so Gale and crew are editing Back to the Future 2. He's flying in every day.
Every day?
To review what they had edited. They're all in California, but they're still flying to cut down on time. And then he's going to shoot it. And then afterwards, he would retire to the Sheraton Universal Hotel for the night. The following morning, Zemeckis would drive to the Burbank airport, board a flight back to the set in Northern California, and continue to shoot the film.
Jeez, that doesn't sound fun.
It doesn't, but in the talking heads on the special features and stuff, everyone's like, yeah, it was really hard. but they seemed like they were like really happy to keep doing it.
Well, cool.
And Zemeckis is like, he seems like a pro. Like, say what you want about the quality of some of his later movies, but he just seems like he knows how to like function as a director efficiently and like getting it done.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like because of the whole chain, you know, I even read that the cast and crew, though it was a tough shoot, you know, to go from one production right into the next, since they built their own sets and like went off and shot Back to the Future 3, they were all like, well, it's kind of relaxing being out here away from everybody and shooting this movie. And like Dean Cundy was excited to shoot a Western. And so it just feels like the switch to Western like really just worked for everyone that was involved. And everyone was really ecstatic about that.
Oh, cool.
And early on, they had asked Michael J. Fox, Gale, and Zemeckis, they'd said, like, where would you travel back in time? And he said the Wild West. And then Fox...
Who's he? You said 3 people. Zemeckis?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Fox was like, yeah, I'd go to the Wild West. And then Zemeckis and Gale were also like, yeah, that would be pretty cool. And then, you know, when they're writing Back to the Future 2, they start going, wouldn't it be cool if at some point...
Cool.
So... and then not finally, I have a couple more than that. So this was on IMDb trivia, which I always take with a grain of salt. But Michael was accidentally hanged unconscious during the hanging scene.
Yeah, I can confirm. I
Ooh.
watched the DVDs many times with like the
Okay.
trivia tracks and stuff, and yeah, he did have a bit of an accident where he was like
That
in
is so
danger at one
brutal.
point.
Yeah, also.
The movie comes out, so I already said May 25th, 1990, $40 million budget, makes $88 million domestic, $244 worldwide, smashing success. And then the last thing I got to say, and I think we talked about it last episode, but I can't remember. This is a recent quote from Bob Gale, and I don't know exactly how this breaks down, but he says, "We have an understanding with Spielberg and Amblin that there would never be another Back to the Future movie without our blessing," referring to Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis. Without our blessing or being involved, so it's not going to happen. Because they're often asked, are they ever going to make a sequel? And he claims that they will not be able to make a sequel ever again.
Okay.
I mean, if Robert Zemeckis was like, you know what, I got an idea, I'm sure they would change their mind and they would, consider it. But the good thing about a quote like that is like you never have to worry about Back to the Future getting a crappy remake or, just getting a fourth movie that like feels like, the Star Wars second sequel series. So
yeah,
good on that. And hey, Bob Gale keeps the Back to the Future universe alive. Like all of the comics and the video game and like all of anything in the Back to the Future universe, Bob Gale oversees and is usually writing himself. So you can trust any extended universe stuff. And if you want to take it as canon, then I say go for it.
Yeah. I found it sort of refreshing. I think this is part because Back to the Future 3 is always the one that's dunked on. I think we can all agree on that. But it feels like there's more of a movement as people get older who've grown up with the movies and stuff like that, that like actually Back to the Future 3 is pretty good. And watching it last night, I think maybe there's a subconscious reason. And I think that subconscious reason is that it's just the end of this series that you like, and it's an end. It's not about to spin off into like the Doc Brown adventures. It's not like that's just it.
Although it kind of did. It spun off into the Saturday morning cartoon, basically taking place right after this one. But still, like, it's a conclusion. Yeah.
Right.
The end. It says it at the end. The end.
It says the end.
We're done.
And I jokingly, we talked about, I think in our first episode, about like the trailer that they would make when they make the nostalgia goggled like Back to the Future 4 that's for some reason is completely devoid of comedy if it was made today, where they have to treat everything like it's this historic thing and it wouldn't be fun.
Given a boring explanation of how the flux capacitor got the name.
Yes.
The details we all care about.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's so nice that this movie just ends and it's over. And that's it. Like we're not going to be covering another Back to the Future entry on this podcast. That's it. It's kind of nice.
Though if they did a Needles spin-off movie, I think we'd all agree that would be gold.
Can't you just imagine that Flea and Needles are the same person? So that way, like, he's like Needles is the dude at Woodstock
Needles,
99. Like,
Needles just played
naked.
Soldier Field over the weekend. It was great. He was on bass. He's actually really good. Yeah. It was great.
He and Marty must have been in a band together.
Yeah.
Too darn loud, though. That's their problem.
No, never mind. I was just about to say a wild theory, but it doesn't make sense. So,
well, did you guys hear? Because this whole spinoff stuff. Did you guys hear about the Ferris Bueller's Day Off spinoff that they announced?
That's new news, right?
It's very new news.
I don't know.
What are the deets? It's like is it a generational thing?
No, it makes less sense than that.
Bueller? No, okay.
Wait, say that again?
It makes less sense than that.
Okay.
They announced, and I just hope this is one of those things that just like dies in pre-production. It's about the two guys that drove the car during the movie.
No.
What?
The parking attendants.
No.
Oh,
And
God
I'm just gonna
almighty.
make sure that I got that right.
Tell me that's a joke and it's like April Fool's, but we're just late. That's all.
Oh man.
Come on. That's
Yeah,
such
Ferris
a bummer.
Bueller Day Off sequel is happening. E-News confirmed with Paramount. Titled Sam and Victor's Day Off will center
This is like, you know what it's like? It's like just a couple years ago when John Turturro made that stupid Jesus spinoff from Big
Yeah.
Lebowski that
Oh,
the
yeah.
Coen brothers are just like, whatever, dude. Like it's like that. It's
Did
just,
either of you see
no.
that movie?
No.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
I did read the synopsis and I was like, no.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But
And like, oh, that's disappointing. Yeah.
so it's titled Sam and Victor's Day Off and will center on the valets, originally played by Richard Edson and Larry Flash Jenkins, who took Cameron's dad's Ferrari for a joyride through the streets of Chicago.
Of course. You fellas have nothing to worry about. I'm a professional. Professional what? Says it's what Cameron says to him. And he's like, I gave him a Finsky. And then they're like, that's his big bribe to the guys. But so let me ask you this. Are they aged and like they're reprising the roles, or are they like, is it a generational thing?
I mean, this was announced, I think, as of the recording of this episode, I think they announced it yesterday. So there's like no information on it.
The ink is still wet on this, you guys. Like this is right off the presses.
Sometimes I think stuff like this is leaked solely so that way, like, the studios can be like, what's the interest in Ferris Bueller in any way?
I'm
like,
sure that's true.
It's like they literally just be like, how precious is Ferris Bueller? Let's just come up with something crazy and see if people care.
That's what I'm really afraid about. To bring it back to this is like, I'm afraid that these jerks at Universal are just going to kind of test the waters, like a little, like they're going to like pay Twitter to make Back to the Future remake like trending. And then people open up that discussion. Is it okay to do a Back to the Future, even though there's a blessing? Like, it's like all it takes is a little discourse on Twitter that like wildfire, you know?
I mean, I just feel like Back to the Future, like you can argue against any movie getting remade. Like what's the point? It should never really happen.
Absolutely,
but like there's really like, it's one of the few movies where you're just like, what is the point? Like, what would be the point? What are you going to do differently or modernize that isn't there in the original Back to the Future?
That's a level of humbleness that the studios don't possess anymore.
Yeah. Well, and
you know,
you could call it a coincidence, but I don't think it is. I mean, the biggest movie of all time until they re-released Avatar in China last year is Avengers Endgame, and they do a whole going back to their previous franchises and previous movies, and they even reference Back to the Future.
That's right.
I think if you want to do something as cool as Back to the Future, adapt it in that way, where it's like, well, it's not Back to the Future, but it gives me the same thrill that I had when I was watching Back to the Future. That's how you make a quote sequel to this movie.
That's how you keep the original sacred.
Yeah.
Rather than tarnishing it in a sequel or another one.
And honestly, since Zemeckis has kind of had a rough maybe 20 years with his filmmaking.
Conservatively.
It's gotta be Bob Gale that's really holding the reins, because I would think that at some point they would be like, you know what? Like, I've had a tough few years. It'd be nice to have just like a movie that I know is going to be a hit. Let's just make Back to the Future 4. And Bob Gale every time's just going, no. This is my baby.
I don't know. I feel like it might, considering that Bob Gale like writes everything else, it almost feels to me like it would be the other way around.
He's the curmudgeon.
Where Bob Gale is just I'd be kind of willing to do it, but Zemeckis is just like, I'm not going back there. I'm not doing it again.
Maybe. Unless I can make them CG with my cool technology. Like Christmas Carol.
Well, I did see an interview with Bob Gale from this year where he again reiterated, he's like, no, I like that this has an ending. It has an ending. The characters' arcs end, and there will never be another one. It was like,
he seems like a bit of a grump, like maybe just a tad bit of a grump, but like that's fine, you know.
I love it.
Yeah, that's cool.
We need more grumps.
All these people get old and grumpy eventually.
Yeah, we need him to run HBO Max at this point, right? Instead of just canceling every show.
I'm convinced they're slowly turning HBO Max into just like a porn site. because like they're
Whoa.
getting rid of anything even remotely like family friendly, or like it's just like, no, get rid of it. It's just like, what are they doing? Why is everything disappearing?
Let me tell you though why House of the Dragon's going to be a huge hit.
Should we talk about this movie though? Back to the Future
Probably
3
should.
in detail. So this movie starts off, and we were watching the 25th anniversary, and it showed all the different Universal logos, which was kind of cool because I thought that was intentional, and I was like, cool, they're showing the past, but it turns out it's the 25th anniversary. But it was still a nice way to set the tone. And so we start, I'll just say timeline wise, Marty has left from 1955 to 1985, but then his 2015 character is coming down the street, and he goes up to Doc Brown, and he goes, I don't remember what he says.
Well, yeah, it's wait, doesn't he say that you gotta help me? You're stuck in 1885.
No, because he doesn't know that yet, because he hasn't got the letter at that point, right?
Yeah, Marty got the letter at the end of 2. That guy, ominous guy came in a car.
And then he runs. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he just got the letter and he runs back. Is
well,
that right?
I mean, Doc passes
He's
out.
saying, it's me, it's Marty. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, it can't be. I just
Yeah.
sent you back to the future. He's like, I know you did send me back to the future, Doc, but I'm back. I'm back from the future.
Yeah. Awesome.
Scott.
Passes
And then
out.
And then he passes out.
passes
Yeah.
out.
Then we're at his house,
Yeah.
and he has to convince
And if my
him.
dad were good at editing, he would have cut it
Aw.
right there. But instead, he screwed that whole thing up with
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Traumatized us.
You're like, I don't want to rewatch that scene. Ugh.
Oh, they showed it 3 times in this trilogy.
But so they go back to Doc Brown's, and then is that when he wakes up and he kind of has like the Marty experience where he's like, oh man, I had this weird dream where Marty was around again. Whatever, don't have to worry about that. Marty's like, hey, I'm right here. He's got the hoverboard.
He has to convince him why he's Marty, I guess, and that everything happened wasn't a dream.
Yeah.
And now he has to help him because Doc is in 1885.
And he gives him the letter.
Yep. And the letter is much more extensive than it was at the end of the second movie. There's even a map in there.
Yeah. And I love this. So 1885 Doc buried the DeLorean, but he doesn't have parts to repair it, and he buried it in the coal mine, thinking that they would it would be safe there. And then Doc, and it's getting hard to talk about.
Well, newsflash, it was safe there, and it's a little surprising that it was.
Yeah.
Because over the cave part that's covered up, it has Doc's initials with an arrow.
Pointing down. Yeah.
Pointing down.
That's true. I think, we can just understand that historically speaking, Doc knew that by this point in time, nobody was going down into that mine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, but
I
it's
love
also
it.
that perfect zany humor that Doc Brown has had the whole time, where it's like, I think it'll be safe in here, and it's kind of setting you up for, oh, it's not, it's maybe it won't be there or something, and it's like, no, it's there, and there's even the letters and the initials and like a pointing down to it. Okay,
And a schematic of the how to rebuild a microchip.
Yeah.
which has one of the funniest lines in the movie to me when he goes. He pulls out the microchip and he goes, such a small piece. How could this cause so much damage? And he goes, I see. It's made in Japan. And then Marty goes, why? All the best stuff's made in Japan. And he's just like confounded by that possibility.
Unbelievable.
They're making, if you read between the lines, it's all over this movie. There's staunch anti-Japan messages all throughout, and anti-Japanese, no, particularly the technology. We'll go over that also beat by beat as we go. So stay tuned for that, everybody.
Yeah. I would say overall anti-Asian.
Oh, I was kidding, but
Oh,
yeah, there
okay.
is a couple of, like,
I do think, and I keep on bringing, I guess I'm really trying to get everyone to listen to your Patreon, but I bring this back to your conversation you had about Pulp Fiction. This is the Quentin Tarantino conversation, where it's like in this movie there are some like outdated terms and some racially insensitive things, but on the same token, they're in the West in 1885.
Yes.
Nobody cares to call the natives Native Americans. They just don't, and they won't. So it doesn't. For me as a viewer, it's not strange.
Yeah, you try to be
but-
PC and you enforce you're going to get shot in the West. Like that's
Yeah.
there's no PC really.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do have to accept that.
And
But,
honestly, in 1989, 1990, nobody was there defending any
Right.
Asian people yet.
Right.
So, like, they were still, unfortunately, fair game as far as entertainment was concerned.
Right.
as far as entertainment was, I guess, concerned.
As far as the comedy conscious at the time.
Mhm.
Right. So now we've talked about race and political discourse. Now
This
let's
is good, yeah.
let's go to the gravesite of Emmett Brown.
Yeah, this is really good. Yeah, this will, they love this sort of talk, don't they?
The listeners love it. The listeners love it. I
That's
hope.
what they're here for, specifically.
Yeah.
That.
Oh yeah.
But what they're also here for is to find out that Doc sent the letter on September 1st, and the tombstone says that he died September 6th?
7th.
7th.
Yeah, and it says he died over a dispute of $80 with Mad Dog
Cannon.
Buford, or Mad Dog Tannen. And then it says something about like to his beloved Clara or something. To
Directed
that
in
effect.
his memory by his beloved Clara, which
Uh-huh.
is plot hole.
I asked you about that, Jared, didn't I? When I watched it recently, did you clear that up for me?
I texted you. I was just like, oh crap! Like I just discovered a plot hole.
Oh, then
What's the
yeah.
plot
But
hole
before
in
that,
this?
I asked you about why does his grave say like what they could have done is not have her name at all, and then it wouldn't have been a thing when he saves her, right?
Well, I texted you, and yeah, like, well, I don't know. Did you guys ever?
Oh,
did you guys catch
because of
this?
the ravine.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Because in
Well-
the 1985, that ravine is named after her, implying that she died and was not rescued.
That's not the plot hole. Like I don't want to
Oh.
like step on anything. Like, or maybe we should wait until we. I
No.
don't know if we should.
Now I'm
So-
I'm dying.
So
Yeah,
what
let's hear it.
happens? So this okay. So a couple
Really
days
gearing
before.
up here.
So I'm just trying to make sure that I get everything straight because I don't want to screw anything up here. So okay, there's the
Stop,
there's
let
the
him talk.
ravine.
I'm sorry.
Hang on,
I'm
you
so
know what?
sorry.
Let me pull up the text that I sent Dan to make sure because this will help me better.
I'm sorry. I've had many moments like this too. It's not weird, but it's just cracking me up.
Okay. Historically speaking, Clara is supposed to fall into the ravine, but the tombstone that 1955 Doc and Marty find is erected by his beloved Clara. Okay.
Yes.
The only reason that Doc was able to save her in the movie is because he and Marty were checking on that bridge. Okay. So in the timeline wherein Marty does not go back to save Doc,
Yeah.
Doc never would have met Clara in the first place because she would have fallen into that ravine by that point.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Marty mentions that ravine because all the kids hope that teachers fall into that ravine.
Because he knows
sometimes.
that it was named after a teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
So the idea that the tombstone was erected by his beloved Clara doesn't make any sense at all because she would have been dead, historically speaking, anyway, a few days before the tombstone was even made.
Wait, so no, okay, never mind. Yeah. Yeah. That
Because
makes
he
sense.
never would have gone to that ravine. He was supposed to pick her up at the train station. Oh my god, I guess that could have been it. But if if she was, oh wait, you know what? I just remembered now. Oh my
Okay,
god,
well,
I
fix
just
it.
solved,
is
I just solved the
this-
plot hole by remembering a detail from the DVDs
here we
He
go.
was asked to meet her.
at
Right.
the train station. So actually, the reason that she took that wagon in the first place is because
wasn't
Doc
there.
and Marty were not there to pick her up at the train station.
Yep.
So
Wait, he was asked to meet her?
Yeah, like the mayor asked him,
yeah,
Oh.
the new teacher.
he's supposed to like pick her up and like bring her
Oh.
to the schoolhouse and all that stuff. It's just like a favor that he's doing for the mayor for some reason.
But then she
Well,
still
Well, I'm sorry
somehow...
to have wasted so much time
No,
on a
no,
plot
no,
hole
no.
that I then realized. No, wait, it's not a plot hole. They
Mine's-
solved it themselves.
Mine's not so much a plot hole, but I did text you about this before, and it was so Marty finds Doc's grave in 1955 with him, and his 1885 counterpart died 1 week after he wrote the letter. My only question is Tombstone says something about dedicating his memory to Clara. How fast exactly did he meet her, fall in love with her, and die? Like,
The
it
connection
seems
was
like a
so
lot.
strong. It was so strong.
That's what Jer says here.
They
This is
bonded
Jer's
over Jules
answer.
Verne.
He fell in love instantly when saving her from the ravine. It was just 1 week. Yes, if Marty hadn't gone back in time, Doc would have been shot the day of the duel. Just not in a duel, I don't think. Well, she's 1 in a million, 1 in a billion, 1 in a Googleplex.
That's what he
Jer
says.
said to me in the text, and I'm like, oh, I guess you got me there.
When she's 1 in a Googleplex, I mean, come
I
on.
mean,
That's
yeah.
like, that's
Her
fine.
name's getting put on a
7
tombstone
days.
in remembrance of that person.
Damn, that's fast. That is,
And actually,
fast.
technically, Doc would have been shot the night of the town, party out there in the
like-
square.
Yeah.
He doesn't live his life. He lives his whole life dedicated to science, which means he sacrifices a lot of social things, which means he befriends young boys at malls, I guess.
Yes.
But
yes.
so then he
Like
lives a whole
we all do.
like we all do, and then he lives 2 lifetimes in 5 days, like apparently by meeting this Clara and putting her name on his tomb. All right, that's fine. That is fine. I just wanted to make sure.
Here is what I would say for me works, because I was thinking about that too. I'm like, this is such a small timeline to fall in love with somebody, and like really like for them to
It's
make
Hollywood. It
No,
would
no.
happen.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
That's true.
I think Christopher Lloyd is so good that the whole movie I was like, yeah, I buy it. He is so head over heels for her, and Mary Steenburgen is also just like absolutely perfect in this movie.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, she's great.
And
Yeah,
so
no argument there.
I mean, who would ever argue for any movie she's in? But both of them do it so well that I'm like, yeah, okay, I buy it. I buy it.
Very well.
Same.
So
All right.
Plot
Take
hole
that.
Fixed.
Hey, plugged. The leak is plugged. Mm-hmm.
But then they go to the library and they research a little bit, and then basically, even though Emmett says, hey, in the letter, don't come back, I'm happy, since they know he's gonna die, they go, Marty says, I'm gonna go back to the future, or I'm gonna go back to the past. And so they go out, and I love this is all that like science fiction stuff that just makes me so happy when they go out into the desert. And then they're kind of like, why do we need to go out into the desert? And Doc Brown says, well, we have to make sure that we go to a place that didn't have some civilization at one point or something, or trees. He says trees that you'll just like crash into.
Mhm.
Sure.
So, although they did time travel over a tree farm in the first movie.
It wasn't
but,
a tree farm yet.
Oh, it wasn't yet?
No, because remember he was mating those trees.
That's true. Yeah, he hadn't started yet.
It was in the first movie though, it's a mall parking lot, and that is enough. Why, like this one we have to go out into the I tell you, we're gonna go out into the desert, Marty.
Yep.
All right.
That might be your best impression.
Doc
Of all the
Brown,
impressions you've
Christopher
seen.
Lloyd.
No.
Oh yeah.
Rodney
Well, that's my
Dangerfield as Doc
Christopher
Brown.
Lloyd.
Yeah.
Like I don't know who Rodney Dangerfield is, so it's fine.
That's
it's
who you
Christopher
could
Lloyd.
be if you were ever on Comedy Bang Bang. You could be Rodney Dangerfield as Christopher Lloyd, and you're upset that you missed the big part.
Oh man, that would be a blast. So they're like where they had like a drive-in movie theater. Is there like
Yeah.
a screen or there's a screen that he crashes through, isn't there?
Well,
Yeah,
the-
he drives.
He's driving into towards a painting of Native Americans, and as he goes to the past, it literally is.
Yeah, and they're like charging at
That's
him.
right.
Yeah.
It's like a match cut. It's like, oh shit, it's
Yeah.
the things that I just saw a painting
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very fun.
Guess what? Very fun.
Uh-huh.
it was fun.
Imagine
And then-
not liking this movie.
I do kind of feel like Hilldale, that's the town, Hill Valley, is kind of like The Simpsons. It's kind of like Springfield.
Mhm.
Oh
You
yeah,
don't really know where it's set because suddenly it looks like we're in like Utah.
yeah.
But in the past couple movies, it's like heavy urban center. There's a
Yeah.
forest somewhere.
What state is it supposed
I
to
think
be
it's
in?
California.
I think it's just supposed to be some
there's a
California
desert.
town.
Yeah.
But yeah, it isn't like, I think that's what I don't like about this movie. Aside from like the genre change, it's the setting change too. I don't respond to the desert setting. I like the cul-de-sacs. I like the businesses. I like the, the commerce,
You don't like how
So.
brown and tan this movie is?
I love it. But I
Um,
mean, here's the thing though, Jordan. California is a desert. So they've only like urbanized it and created it to be a place that's not a desert, especially.
No, I know that.
So guess what? Plot hole fixed.
I didn't never
That's
said it was a
another one.
plot hole.
Jeremy,
Mike, just give it to him, I guess. Give this one to him. Leak plugged. All right.
Jeremy and I are here to say this is perfect.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that's
Great.
fine. Hey, I like to be the voice of dissent.
And I root for the underdog.
Yeah. But
That's true.
speaking of underdogs, he is attacked by a bear in a cave. Desert bear. Fun.
Eat your heart out, Revenant.
Yeah.
Am I
Oh,
right, you
yeah.
guys?
Yes.
Not
Where's his Oscar for fighting a bear?
right? And that was a real bear.
It
Yeah.
That
was.
wasn't some
True.
CG BS. So
It's a real deal.
Yeah. I think they should give him a retroactive Oscar at whatever the next ceremony is. He should be nominated for Back to the Future 3. And they'll be like, why is this happening? But that should happen.
It really should.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes into town, knocks
No.
his head.
He doesn't even get to town, buddy.
Well, yes, you're right. Go ahead.
He gets to like a farm where a couple of Irish immigrants
Oh,
are.
Seamus.
Yeah, they're making their way in the new world and frontier land.
Yeah. And then
This
we have
is the movie I want to see, you guys.
Yeah.
3 hours, like far and away, basically. And the
Yeah.
accents are just as bad. Okay.
But this is where we have the recreation for a third time of where he wakes up and his mom is like, "Good morning," and he goes, "Oh, I had the most terrible dream. I thought that I was in the Old West being chased and there was a bear and all this stuff." And then she's, speaking in an Irish accent, and then he's like, "Huh?"
Literally.
And
He does. He
that
makes the
noise.
Tim Allen noise.
Yeah.
Y'all did
And
it.
she
There we go.
says, "It's Mrs. McFly, and don't you be forgetting the Mrs." And then Seamus comes, he's like, "Oh, I caught dinner." And then it's got buckshot in it, little
Yep.
pellets. Yeah.
This is
gross.
obviously where Crispin Glover would come in if
Uh-huh,
he wasn't such a pain to work with.
If he wasn't such a pill, he would
Yeah.
definitely be Seamus.
He would be
Yeah.
Seamus.
That would
And
have been
I
pretty
would like to have
interesting to
heard.
see that. Yeah.
I want to hear his take on an Irish accent.
I bet it
Oh.
would be out there and weird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just kicking Letterman in the head. You guys see
Yeah.
that before?
No.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Really?
Right? Isn't he like showing off karate or something and he kicks him?
Yeah.
He was apparently in character, like his River's Edge character, and he was like, he showed up on the show, and I guess he got up on the furniture. He's like kicking Letterman in the head.
I have not seen that.
Imagine just being an actor and thinking you need to take that home.
Yeah.
The
like,
older
ooh,
I get,
gotta
the more I'm
sink my
like,
teeth
method
into this.
acting is the stupidest thing in the world. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just a refusal to acknowledge reality for a while. That's all it is, really.
So I wanted to ask all three of you, when I'm watching Back to the Future 2 and 3, they do a lot of callbacks to the first movie, recreations even, and I'm thinking of this scene in particular. Every single movie has had this scene in it. Now, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but this is the sort of thing where when they make a new movie, a reboot or whatever it is, they'll do this, and I will sit in the theater and roll my eyes. And it's like, oh, they had to do the he wakes up thing. But how come in the Back to the Future movies, it's charming and lovely every time that this happens and funny?
I think, well, number one, we're not dealing with like reboot territory. We're dealing with just a continuation in the sequel. So, but when you're talking about
Maybe it's
like
subconscious.
in Dead
It's
Man's
about the
Chest,
maternal the maternal need, you know.
Like I roll my eyes in Dead Man's Chest when, like, for no reason at all, he's like, why is the rum always gone? It's just like, oh yeah, you said that in one movie and now you have to call back to that, and that's not necessary here.
Yeah.
I think what works about this is because they're doing, and it's, you know, the same thing with being dragged through town, you know, like in the first, second, and third movie, he's getting dragged. I think what works, and also in using the cast as playing previous versions of themselves, it's the idea is that time loops and time rhymes with itself, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes it work, is because we're dealing with time travel in general. So the idea that you can repeat these cycles or these events in different eras kind of, you know, adds to the adventure of time traveling.
So there's meaning behind it.
Yeah, I think
Other
I'm
than it
with
being
you
a
there.
joke.
Yeah. I think it's
like
the fact
that.
that it's time travel, and like things are destined to repeat themselves in alternate timelines in certain ways. I think a lot of us like that. I know I do. Like you expect in Marvel does that too. I feel like now that they're exploring multiverses, I'm sure they will more.
The McFlys and the Tannins like just have a historical dispute. Like the families just don't get along, because even when he mistakes, when Marty is in the bar and he's just like, hey, McFly, I thought I told you never to come in here. He thought he was looking at Seamus. So he still has a beef with Seamus for some separate reason. You know, it's just the two families just don't get along, historically speaking. And, you know, at one point or another, a McFly is going to get dragged by a Tannen through town. I think that's just what's going to happen.
It's almost not like tropes of the movie itself, like Back to the Future. It's tropes of their timelines. You know, I can definitely digest easier than like we're doing the thing that the movie did. Like,
you all loved it, so here it is again.
And I guess they are since there hasn't been that much time since the first movie. There isn't this legacy of like, oh well, a Back to the Future movie has to do A, B, C, D, and E.
Yeah.
And if you don't,
they're making their own legacy, and this is before fans decided to make the legacy for the makers. You know what I mean? Like they're like, we got this, you guys. Like Spielberg and companies, like we'll make our own here, and they did a great job. You know, because sure enough, the fans took it and ran with it when it came out in '85, right? But they by that point had it, I'm sure. When did first come out, and then they're like, oh shit, we got to make a sequel, or did they already have a trilogy mapped out?
No, they made the first one with no intention of making a sequel.
Okay, it seems awfully thought out. Yeah,
but Zemeckis is often, people are like, oh come on, you ended it on a cliffhanger, and he says proof that we weren't planning on making a sequel is we put Jennifer in the car at the end of the movie, and had we known we were making a sequel, we wouldn't have put her in the car.
Got it.
And that's why they ditch her.
Yep.
Unconscious for the majority of the movie, the whole movie. Yeah.
Honestly, what do you do with somebody you don't know what to do with? You ditch them in an alley, right?
You knock them out. Literally.
We've all been there. I can't tell you how many people in my life I've dropped off in alleys and just drove away, smoke and dirt flying into their face.
And
that was a safe alley. So,
and he says, I didn't know what to do with them. So
I didn't. What should I have done?
Well, that's when the camera pans up and we see that it's actually Crime Alley, and the Mask of Zorro is playing in the theater.
Oh my god!
Bad mistake.
Do you think like any subsequent showing of the Zorro thing at that theater in Gotham after that murder is like Macbeth kind of deal? Like it's like, oh man, it's totally cursed.
Yeah,
that theater's cursed actually. Boy,
honestly, it feels like you just wrote like a one-off Batman issue that would actually be pretty interesting.
The haunted theater.
Yeah.
I would probably jump the shark though by having Thomas and Martha Wade's ghosts be the protagonists.
That's what I was saying. You literally have to have their ghosts because they're killed all the time. So it's just in reference to they're always there waiting to be killed.
Actually, you guys elevated it right there. Or you, Jordan, you just elevated it there. Yes.
Yeah, so falling asleep, they ask him his name, and he says it's Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
Funny. 10 out of 10, great joke. Love it.
Well done.
They also have kind of upped the game even since the last one on the FX of the
having two of him in one shot.
Yeah, there were a couple things where I couldn't like the scene where Seamus picks him up. I couldn't really figure out how they did that.
When Seamus picks
because
him off
it's
the
one
ground.
shot.
Yeah,
He picks him up off of the ground.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was. You know what? It was probably a double. Like someone else's hand came into frame, and then by the time the camera came up, he was standing there. That's
the fence line is where they wipe.
They wipe at the. Oh, okay. Dang,
Yeah.
that's seamless.
Same thing with and I'm sure I don't know if you did talk about it, but like in Back to the Future 2, like that weird line that's in his windshield in Biff's car.
Yeah.
Is there solely to mask the transition of two shots.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's something. Anytime somebody wipes the frame, like Maggie does that at one point too. Like when he's handing
big
the
black
baby,
bar around her.
Yeah.
Maggie's body just wipes the frame so that way you cut that mask that transition.
And I mean, this is Zemeckis already pretty early in his career, and he's getting obsessed with the technical aspects of things, which will later condemn him.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm back, and during the bathroom break, and I was just wondering. I was thinking to myself about this movie, like, how does Seamus pick him up? In the movie?
Hey,
how did that happen? Well, I was in the bathroom. I didn't. What?
We don't rewind.
It must have been a body
forward.
double. Anyway, let's move on.
Or maybe they did it actually at the fence line. I actually kind of know that information.
Okay.
So he goes to the bar. And they pour whiskey, and it burns the table after he asks for water, which is funny. 10 out of 10 joke. Easy.
You're just going through the funny things?
Yeah. I mean,
funny checklist.
And then we have the Tom Wilson shows up, and he's like McFly, as you guys were just saying. And then he tells him to dance, and he's shooting, and he does the moonwalk. And once again, that's a 10 out of 10 joke.
Yes.
I mean, they just don't make jokes like that anymore.
It's funny.
I would say it's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many people think Biff is hot and how many think that Buford is the hottest, like that he's ever looked.
Team Buford.
No, Griff all the way with that spiky helmet. Sorry.
I mean, after finishing it, I got it's crazy to say this because of Marty and Doc, but I got to give MVP to Tom Wilson in this trilogy.
He's great, isn't he?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way better than he probably needs to be at doing some of this stuff.
Absolutely. And I mean, he is the center of this universe. Everything happens because of him.
You're right.
Whether you like it or not. Yeah. He is a living catalyst in the Back to the Future universe for sure.
Well, I believe, I mean, this was kind of my take last time, is that he is Satan incarnate.
Ooh. And that was Marcellus Wallace's soul in the briefcase. So
since we're still talking about these things.
But then yes, and it's funny, we've already mentioned some of this stuff. They take Marty and they drag him through town. They attempt to hang him, and I guess
apparently they succeed
a
little bit.
And then Doc Brown shows up, pulls out his telescope gun, shoots the rope.
Saving Michael J. Fox just in time for the insurance companies to back away from the production.
I used to act out this scene with a coworker at Blockbuster. If your horse threw a shoe, bring him back and I'll re-show him. I ain't shot that horse. Well, that's your problem, Tannen. Wrong. That's yours. I could go on, but I won't.
But that's when we find out the $80, why there's the $80 dispute, which I do love. Throughout the series, I love when there are moments that are somewhat obvious and Marty's standing there and he's like, $60, then $15, and then $5.
He's
that's $80. Yeah.
The clues line up. It's $80. He goes, that's $80. He's
and also
after getting strangled.
The pricing is really strict. Like it's $18.85.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he think that whiskey's worth $5? Like that seems like a lot of money for $18.85
It does.
Some
I
good
don't know.
It's 3
I
X's,
didn't
Jared,
live
not
back
2.
then.
Yeah, 3 X's.
It's
Wait,
3
Were there
X's.
X's on the bottle?
You're playing that triple X premium.
Oh.
We don't know.
It's the top shelf liquor that he spent the $5 on, you know?
It was a perfectly good bottle of fine Kentucky Red Eye.
It's like the Cavassier of the West,
That's I guess
No.
you know what I
or
should
the
do.
Cristal.
I should do my research on fine Kentucky Red Eye and see.
I know I have. So, aged oak barrels, anyone? That's all I got. That's all I got on that subject.
Convince me.
I mean, we're going out
On
of
the
our
rocks.
depth. Honestly, it feels
On
like
the
you're
rocks.
referencing a movie or
Without.
something. Are you referencing a movie right now that we don't know?
Yeah, On the Rocks with Rashida Jones.
I thought you were
and Bill
just-
Murray. No. I'm just talking.
Oh, okay.
It's just Dan does this.
What? I'm just talking.
Not
if you were
everybody
really
knows.
quoting something from On the Rocks, a movie that nobody saw,
No,
that
I
would be
wasn't.
insane.
I was not.
That movie doesn't exist. That's a
It-
classic doesn't exist movie.
Sophia Coppola. She did not make that movie.
No. It doesn't exist. It's not real.
No, I wasn't referencing that. I was just joking about my knowledge of Kentucky bourbons or
Okay.
red eye or and then I don't know where we went from there, but
And then
yeah.
I just candidly asked for real and made myself look a fool when I should have just played along and smiled.
It's okay. It's not the
I was
first time I've
equally
been
lost,
asked.
Micah.
Okay,
It's
thank
not the
you.
first time I've been asked, like, are you fucking joking or not? I can't tell with you, dude. Sorry.
Oh man. So then Marty and Doc, they start hatching their schemes and whatnot. He has a huge contraption that makes ice that's just ginormous and huge.
It makes
Again,
Willy Wonka noises.
that's a 10 out of 10er for me.
That's true. I find it odd that like it's in this moment, like especially when Maggie pours Marty's water earlier, that I'm like, Doc really is choosing this lifestyle right now. Like
Right.
this
It's
is what
rough.
he's happy here with this brown dirt water. Like I don't know. I guess we don't see him. I would have preferred. I don't need to see an ice cube maker because that ice cube is filthy looking. I would have
Yeah,
rather
where
have
would,
seen him figure out a way to filter the water. That's
Would
all I'm saying.
you choose to live now or would you choose a different era to live in? I feel like we've discussed this before on our show.
That's a good question.
I don't know. I would have been in my 20s in the 80s, so that way I could have gotten in on the comedy boom and then seen where my
And that
career actually went.
cocaine.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I'm kidding.
yeah,
Word.
mountains of blow. I
No.
would have loved. No,
I would like to be in my early 20s in the early 90s, I think. So just a little bit before my
Oh,
time
wow.
now. Yeah.
Even
Anyway.
better.
Yeah, how about you guys?
I do like the time we live in. It's hard to imagine a different time. But when you guys mention different scenes and stuff, it would have been nice to be a musician before streaming existed, so that when you made an album, you could actually make money from it. That would be cool. That would be an interesting experience.
Yeah.
back when there was a
Absolutely.
record industry, like
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then of course at the same time you have a record industry then. So
Right.
maybe like right when the singer, like right when the indie boom was happening, would have been a fun time to be 20 making music.
Right on.
Yeah. For me,
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah,
you
how
have
about
to-
you, Jordan?
not super fun to think about it when you're a girl. Because if you
Oh,
think of
yeah.
most things in the past,
Of
it's like,
you're like,
course.
can we just go forward? Can I skip like 20 years?
Of
So-
course.
because I
Good
would
point.
talk about this with my sister because my sister really likes the 50s, and it's like, yeah, that sounds like a fun time, and then it's like, but you would just be a housewife.
It would
That's
say,
boring.
bring
I-
the getaway sticks over here, Dame. It'd say, talk to you like that. You don't need
Yeah,
that.
I don't want that. So I guess around now. I mean, I would appreciate living in a time where it would be easier. I would feel like I have more of a leg up on being an artist.
Yeah.
So a little bit in the
Right on.
past.
But okay, let's take out the let's go on a strictly like you won't get hurt and you won't die and you can like witness history kind of moment.
Just be there kind of thing.
Yeah, be there.
Whoa,
Kennedy assassination for sure.
that would be crazy.
Yeah.
I'd be up on that grassy knoll. No, I want to know.
I want
Was
to
there
be on
two
that
shootings?
grassy knoll.
And then they'd think it was me. And that's the paradox that I would create
Yep.
by going back. Like, oh shit, they think I'm the second guy in the grassy knoll. How about you guys? Kill Hitler?
Well, I'm thinking it's not an interacting
You're
scenario.
just witnessing it.
Right.
It would be pretty cool to see dinosaurs. I mean, especially because I made the whole caveat on how I won't die. So it would just be cool to be like, travel around the world and just see dinosaurs fighting and stuff like that. That would be pretty epic.
Oh, we got it so wrong in the movies. They don't look anything like that.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool.
But
Prime the show Primal scratches my itch for that.
True. Yeah. That's a tough
How
one.
about
I
you
don't
guys?
know. I don't know.
Probably the Wild West for Jeremy, I'd imagine.
I want to go back to that dirt water, man. Like,
You just want to taste it.
yeah.
Can I
you
say
How
I just
good
wanna-
is it?
I do. This is tied to Back to the Future. The menu that you see in Jared's background on his video is
Mhm.
from a sketch show we did. And the opening sketch we did was just literally a conversation where it's just us high school students debating the merits of the Back to the Future trilogy. And one of the cast members is like, what? Third one sucks. Why didn't they go back to the dinosaur era? That is literally the
Wow.
line that we wrote.
Nice.
The whole, that whole person's thing throughout that whole sketch was just the dinosaur era.
The
Yeah.
dinosaur
That
era.
whiny kind of.
But it was so
a really
cool
dumb
to do
sketch.
that. I thought it was cool to do that. Like it was like kind of alt comedy, like 90s kind of like sketch comedy, like conversational kind of deal, meta-y. Yeah, I thought
To
it was
me,
cool.
To me, it was just a way to get as many kids into the production as we possibly could, so we can reserve the good people for the good sketches.
I have a different memory.
So I put you in there as the grounder. Like, you're going to ground this sketch. Everybody else is going to navigate around you.
That's what they call me. I'm the grounder.
You're the
That's Dan
grounder.
the grounder.
Big G.
So we definitely that all I want to say is just that proves our love and affection of the series in our high school days. We believed in it so much we wanted to make it the subject of a sketch.
Love
But
it.
anyway, they meet up, right? And he's got his ice machine.
Yeah, he's got his ice machine.
Yeah.
They need to figure out
Fuel. Because
is the
because
issue.
it's the fuselage broke or something like that. Some car
Fuel
part
line.
broke.
He blew
Fuel
the fuel
line.
line off the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know what that is and how it works because I'm a man and I know a lot about cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then this is when they start concocting like the train situation.
They need to be pushed to 88 miles per hour.
I mean, we're talking trains now. Let's go.
Yeah.
We've had flying cars. We've had regular cars. Let's get on the locomotive. Let's get some steam action in here.
Let's ride some rails, guys.
I love it. This is great. And so then they're out at the and this is also a detail I really loved is they go to the bridge where the ravine is, and Marty goes, "Well, it runs out of track. What are we gonna do?" And he goes, "Well, by my calculations, we'll be up to 88 miles per hour, and then this bridge is finished in 1985. So then you will just glide. You'll continue to glide, and then it'll be one hell of a explosion or one hell of a crash for the train that falls off of the edge, and that is freaking great."
But Doc, what if I get to present day and there's a train just head out immediately?
Marty, I know the whole train's scheduled by the heart. Don't worry about it. It's also like, I don't know how land development works, but that's a giant ravine.
You don't?
And then in 1985, that bridge is there, but like he's like on the bridge and he looks over and there's a road of people like where the ravine would be.
I thought he zoomed past it and then he's like hitting the brakes.
I mean, he I don't know. That's a good point.
We may never know.
I feel like he does zoom.
We can't go
zoom
back.
through it.
Well, the fire goes like at least halfway through the ravine, and I don't think he's going to be able to stop immediately. So I think it would take him, he gets through the ravine, stops, and then he's at like the first street after that.
Was you right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
That
It's
sounds
just-
about right.
When you see it in 1985, geographically, you're like, where is the ravine right
Well,
now?
oh, yeah, you
because
don't
there's
see the
I don't
ravine.
see any sign of a ravine anywhere. He's looking back and
Yeah.
forth. He's like, see, where's
And
the
that's
train
why-
coming from?
They live in Springfield.
Right. Right.
Or
Um,
sometimes they're at the Pacific Ocean, and sometimes it's the Atlantic, whichever
Yeah.
we need.
Sometimes it's
Yes.
a desert. Who knows?
uh,
But it's during this time when the teacher comes.
yeah,
Okay, and they
they run
save
into
her.
Clara. They save her.
Yeah.
And then he
It's-
pretty
well,
immediately.
no, before that, when they're talking about the ice, or they're at the refrigerator thing, they're trying to speculate who Clara is because Doc hadn't met her yet,
Yeah.
Right.
and that's when Marty's talking about. Well, it's like me and Jennifer. It's just like we just couldn't take our eyes off each other. All this stuff. And I just thought it was like funny that Jennifer is barely in these movies,
Yeah.
and I know the
She
relationship.
has like 5 minutes of screen time.
Yeah,
in
and
the
I
whole
know the
series.
relationship's like off screen. I know that. But it's like I am witnessing this true love blossoming between Doc and this woman, and apparently Marty,
Yeah,
some like
shares that.
17-year-old boy, is like has the same love with this Jennifer girl that he put in an alley.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't even ask about her. There's no reverse
Well-
Bechdel in this where he's like, man, I better think maybe I should check out Jennifer. None of that. He's just like, well, what do we got to do, Doc?
I think, as
Mhm.
much as he loves Jennifer, his first love is adventure.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Mm,
absolutely. Absolutely, Jared.
absolutely. So then it's like the dance, right? ZZ Top's sitting there.
ZZ Top, yeah.
They're playing,
They're great.
and
He
they
does
even
the-
do the spinning. Yeah, you were about to say it.
He does I do the motion here. He spins
Yeah.
his drum.
For the
Right
audio
after-
podcast.
Right after Doc almost gets murdered on the dance floor, they go, all right, let's
not-
get this shit going
And not in a
again.
dance battle, mind you.
No.
No,
with,
no,
with
no.
a pistol.
That's
Yeah.
right. Buford smuggles in a pistol, doesn't he? Even though he's not allowed. They check him at the door.
Yeah. This one's in his hat.
Crafty.
Little teeny pistol,
Little teeny piddle.
little teeny piddle. And there's
They get-
there's like the big payoff, which is just kind of funny, of Marty being good at the video game in Back to the Future 2, because he does the what are those called, like the little carnival tent game, and he uses a gun and he nails everything, and they're like, whoa, that's
I think
crazy.
that was a real gun, wasn't it?
Well, no, it was, but I mean, in Back to the Future 2,
Yeah.
he's doing, it's kind of like a payoff
gunman.
to that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he instinctively knows how to handle a pistol with recoil and everything.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
it's all the same as a little plastic.
yeah.
Do you guys
NES
think
gun?
that ZZ Top are also time travelers in this universe, and they have like an equivalent of a DeLorean?
I mean, I know that you're fishing for some good old fashioned comedy, and the good thing to do would be to, yes and.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. He's shutting it down.
Yikes.
I like to imagine it's only Doc and Marty,
Well, what is it? Is this their ancestors though?
Now that's something I can get it. Maybe this is AA Top.
And this is
Yeah.
where we disagree completely. I think ZZ Top are time travelers, time lords, actually. And I think that they assume different identities, like who, every time that the ratings get low.
Yeah. I'm into that.
That's how it works.
I would say time wizards just because of the beards.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing.
As long as they're spinning them drums.
And guitars. They hit the
Oh, do they?
guitars too.
I was just so focused on the skins when he
I
does
don't.
the.
I ain't impressed. You know what? If you can spin a harmonica, then I will. I'll be more impressed.
That's easy because if you have the holder like Dylan or someone like Dylan,
I'm not talking about a
We just-
holder, Dan. I'm saying if you could spin a harmonica,
while you're
the way that-
playing it.
yeah.
Well, so there must be some kind of protuberance out of the harmonica. Then you spin it so that it does like a whole 360 spin.
Do you even know what I'm talking about, Dan? Do you get
Yeah,
what
I'm
I'm
trying-
saying?
Yeah, I am, and I'm trying to make it logically sound. You have to have a protuberance that comes out of the harmonica, so that way
Honestly,
you can spin it.
You're right.
It's much simpler than that. You know those little flower spinners that are in yards? You just put a harmonica, a pinwheel.
But he has to be playing the
Flower
harmonica.
spinners in yards.
But if you
One
if
of those flower spinners.
I thought I didn't know that. Yeah,
You didn't know there was a name for that?
no, I didn't.
That's okay.
So you attach it to that, and then you spin, and you just because you can blow on a harmonica from a small distance, and then you could just play that middle note.
You'd have to have it's a hell of a breath to.
Some big lungs.
So here's what I am gonna say. Okay, I know we do not have the biggest audience in the world, but I am on my knees begging someone in our audience to film a video of them attaching a harmonica to a pinwheel and attempting to do it
With a protuberance.
If you are,
and
guess
tag
what?
it.
If you are already not a patron, I will. No, I won't say that. If someone does that, I will send you the album, downloads to the album.
I'll give you $75. Just give me your address.
And I'll give you
Venmo.
$5. That's $80.
Whoa!
That's $80.
Just to bring it back.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if I'll send you the album early, but you'll get a download. You'll own the album. How about that?
Hey,
Bust
sounds like
out
a good deal.
This is what I'll do.
Bust out your flower spinners.
Wait, he's sweetening it.
I'll send you the album on release day, downloads, but I will send you, because I'm working on posters that will have like the lyrics on the back and everything, and you'll get a free poster. If I see a legit video of you having a harmonica attached to a pinwheel and spinning it and playing, it has to be
you have to play a
accomplished.
song for us. You have to play a song in its entirety.
Yes.
Like, it's
and
not a big deal.
I'll draw a picture of the harmonica on the pinwheel
Yeah.
of what you created. I'll draw it.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
So
That sounds
someone's
great.
gonna do it.
People are listening. They're like, "I'll just pay for the album." Like,
No.
why would I go
this
through all this trouble of the pinwheel? I could just buy the album.
I like this.
I like it
this
too.
Idea.
Because I just want to see it.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, the
basically-
greatest-
believing.
The greatest reward is the satisfaction of knowing that you attached a harmonica to a pinwheel and played it, protuberance or not.
Which would be very top heavy, I imagine, because those pinwheels are held up by these little plastic sticks.
You can get a big sturdy one. You just get like a You probably get a plastic harmonica.
Oh,
They
yeah,
probably
like a
make
toy.
those.
Hey,
But
hey,
don't you dare
hey,
get a kazoo.
caveat. Do not make it. You has to be a honer. It has to be like a name brand harmonica.
Now they're spending money, big money on harmonicas. It has to be an
Everybody's
E.
got a
It has to
honer.
be it has to be an E, the key of E.
Yeah.
Oh
And,
yeah, it has to be an E harmonica too.
No,
yeah.
I'll tell you this. It can be any harmonica for mine. I'm not going to speak to the $75, but the poster sending.
No, it's
an album-
$80.
$80.
It's $80.
$80. Yeah.
$80.
So
No deal. If it's a fake harmonica, has to be real.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it still has to be a real harmonica. It doesn't have to be name brand.
It has to be metal.
Yes, absolutely, agreed.
Jared just did the bullhorns. Jared just turned into what's his name from Stranger Things.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie. Jared just turned into Eddie.
Oh man. So
But-
either
but-
people are loving this and it's their favorite episode, or they are not going to finish it because this
I
is.
hate these
I am
guys.
loving this, but this is
They're
crazy.
terrible. I thought
Talk
they were
about
talking
a movie
Back to
for
the
once.
Future. Yeah.
So
I got
we
something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, please.
I was just gonna
might
say-
something come later. Yeah. It's just a deleted scene I wanted to talk about that I thought was super funny and interesting. That I could bring up literally any time of the episode.
The only thing I was gonna say was we had to pause movie and Google this, right? About the Frisbee thing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this movie taught us something yesterday.
Yeah, because
Uh-oh.
Frisbees, there was a company, the Frisbee, or I think they still are, a Frisbee pie company. And that's like how they invented Frisbees, because college students and guys on their breaks would throw around the pie tins and they would kind
The
of.
college student part of joke, because you didn't say that last night.
I read that after I said the
Oh,
other
okay.
part. And workers, like on their breaks, would
Feels
throw
like a
around the
The old
Frisbees.
pie tin.
Yeah.
That's what people say. You guys want to go toss the old pie tin around?
Absolutely, that's what people said.
I hope. I hope.
You guys want to grab these serving platters and just throw them around?
No, but so
Toss 'em
you're
back and
telling
forth?
me
You wanna toss the
you're
tin?
telling me that Michael toss the tin around a little bit. You guys want to toss the tin? You're gonna
TTT.
tell me that Michael J. Fox pulled a Forrest Gump. Maybe he like kind of beat them to it because like with
And-
like the smiley face, like
And
the have a nice
who
day.
happens to be the director of Forrest Gump, eh?
Oh
Ah.
shit! This guy's always fucking with time. Robert Zemeckis. Man,
This actually reminds me. I don't know if our listeners know this, but I am like kind of obsessed with this. Mike and I have been getting really into Bollywood lately.
And Tollywood.
And
Nice.
Tollywood.
Indian films.
And
yes.
we've been watching. We've seen several Amir Khan movies by now. Who is
Yeah.
Mr. Bollywood,
Uh-huh.
and he is starring in a what really seems like a shot-for-shot remake of Forrest Gump.
yes.
And
yes.
I want to see it so bad.
But
I
it
saw
looks
the
like-
trailer.
And the
Yes.
thing that is interesting to me and is that it looks like he is doing the thing that Forrest Gump did, but with Indian history. So he
Yes.
will like interact with like
That
the
is-
80s and 90s of Indian
Yep.
history.
That seems so interesting to me because it's a whole other culture. It's a whole other series
Yeah.
of events. I think that is super interesting if you're going to remake a movie. Why not do it that? I'm just looking up do you know what his equivalent of life is like a box of
I
chocolates
don't
is?
remember what it was.
I'm
but
looking it up.
Yeah,
yeah.
it was so funny. Well, I guess I don't know if it was funny. I didn't know what it was. I'm assuming
Yeah, I
it
don't-
was their equivalent, but
Whatever it is going to be funny to us,
like
I
the
guess.
the
Like-
saying was even different,
right.
and I'm sure part
It's,
of that comes down to translation. But
Yeah.
that was funny too.
I have to look it
I
up
can't
here.
wait.
But
But yeah, who's that guy who like plays the little version of himself in the Bollywood movies? You know what I'm talking
Oh.
about? VFX
Oh.
broke it down, and it looks
Yeah.
so, like immaculate how they shrunk him down.
Yeah,
we gotta watch that one. I haven't seen that one.
is that an Amir Khan movie?
No, it's a
Okay.
different guy who's very famous
Who's
too.
really- yeah.
And yeah, they like make him, like under 4
Oh, because
feet,
there's
and
that
it's like
movie. Yeah, I remember
insane
that.
how much.
I think you guys are thinking of Deep Roy and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yep, that's it. I love the way they shrunk him down and multiplied him.
Like 18 inches and like 1,000 of them.
hmm
That's
The
it.
Augustus Gloop song that they did.
Have you not found it yet, Dan?
I pulled up the trailer.
You're
with
watching the
sub-
trailer? Why not
Yeah, I am.
taglines?
Oh yeah, I guess I could do that. His name is Lal Singh Chadha, is the Forrest Gump Indian remake. So I have to look up Lal Singh Chadha tagline.
It
This
does
is
show him
exciting.
running, which is pretty fun.
It doesn't
He's-
just show him running; it shows him running, and the braces fall off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly
Oh,
like
yeah.
the original.
You're thinking of Shah Rukh Khan is that guy's name.
Oh. Well, the IMDb doesn't
that
have
guy.
any quotes yet.
Bummer.
Ah,
Watch
damn
the
it.
trailer, people, because
Yeah,
you'll
it's
get
like
it,
life is
and
like
it's great.
something, and your heart will still be hungry after you eat it. It's like
Yeah,
life is like
something
an
like that.
Indian dish.
Oh, Mike
Yeah,
is
and
pulling it
it's-
up now.
There's a lot of build up to this line here, and it's going to be worth it, you guys, because I'm going to pay each of you $75
here we go.
at home. See, Mike is watching the trailer.
my mom used to say life is like a golgappa. Your tummy might feel full, but your heart always craves more.
That's too
Wow.
wordy. Like it's way more wordy than
I-
the Tom Hanks
I
quote.
wonder if it's not wordy though in Hindi.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
it's wordy for us. It's
Good
probably
point.
just as beautiful and poetic, and I am excited. for that
Jeremy
movie.
looks so bored right now.
I mean, I'm trying to resist getting into how the Tom Hanks expression is kind of stupid because I'm like, most boxes of chocolates have a little label and
Guide,
they are.
key. But he's
Just-
you know.
look at the lid, man. It'll tell you what's in that box, bro.
And this is what you guys did as your encore on that sketch night, I bet.
Mhm.
How do you? Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
That was the sketch.
we
I
did
don't know
not
how
get
we.
an encore. There was no, oh, please come back for more.
Yeah, I don't know if sketch shows get encores.
How do
It'd be
we
great if
plug
you just had a
that?
sketch,
Lee?
like just at the ready to come out? Like, all right, we're gonna do one more for you,
That would be kind of cool.
and then just
Like,
take our spots, and then just, like it's this awkward, like, hey man, was like we have to like wait. Take that awkward beat and set the scene.
That's how it felt seeing Mitch Hedberg, rest in peace. Everybody was finishing his punchlines, and I was like, "This is like going to see a concert. Everyone's like singing along with the fucking
very
band."
strange.
It was kind of like Dane Cook at the height of his powers. Also, he'd do like callback jokes and stuff. I find that interesting. The rock star comedians.
Yeah.
Which I would have been if I had been 20 in the 80s.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
but you're funny to us.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all that matters. I'm not being sarcastic. I don't care. I don't.
No. I actually didn't mean it sarcastic, but I realized it only sounds sarcastic no matter how you slice it.
Yeah.
But
I
you guys are funny guys.
I'm being genuine too. Thank you.
So the Frisbee, the principal's the sheriff this time around.
Yep.
Which I had to rewind it to prove it to Jordan.
Yeah, it didn't look like him to me.
But
That's
it
what
is.
I
I
wanted to
saw
talk
it.
about was the deleted scene.
Okay.
It's okay. So the morning, I believe it's the morning of the duel that happens later. Buford Tannen kills somebody else, doesn't he, Jer, in the deleted scenes? He kills the great grandfather of Strickland, who
Marshall
happens to be
Strickland.
the marshal of this town. As he's dying, he says to his dying words to his son, who's in this movie, you see him, he goes, "Remember the words, son, discipline." So that really sticks in the Strickland
Wow.
ethos is discipline, which
I mean,
means
he's
they're really the BDSM.
He still says it. He still says it in the movie. But to be like, discipline. Like
Dying words, discipline, So that's all I wanted. I think it's funny that they double nailed the point home, and they knew that and they cut it out. But also just how dramatic it is, and how you can devote your life to anything, and he decides discipline is the thing he's going to.
Look where that got you.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to say.
Pretty funny. So
I think, I wrote it. So thank you. My name is Bob Gale.
We find out that Seamus's brother was killed because of his pride.
His name
in
was
a knife
Martin.
fight. Yes.
Oh.
And in the scene, they call Marty, Buford calls Marty, "Are you yella?"
Yeah.
Which is the whole chicken thing.
Yeah, last episode we talked about how it's this completely weird fabricated thing, this whole chicken thing that was never around in the first movie, and it just feels so silly. And at least since they're not saying chicken, at least it feels a little more aggressive in this movie because he actually might shoot him. But it is kind of like, okay, this is the payoff to that made up arc that doesn't really make any sense that we added, and you're kind of like, okay, I wish you would have thought of anything else for Marty, but we'll take it, I guess.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really have an arc in the first movie. He just needs to get home, and everybody else does the work. He just is there and does his part of it. There's very little arc for him to actually get over. It's really George McFly who has the arc.
Yeah.
Well,
true.
yeah, you are right.
So they have to just come up with something. Otherwise,
I think it's funny. I think it's funny and kind of cool that they're usually most movies today, they'll make the first installment and they'll establish all the franchise tropes in that first one. And then they do the callbacks in the sequel. In this series, they're establishing new tropes in the second movie that is
true.
really burned in by the third, that you almost feel like it was in the first, or I do. Has this been I think they do a great job at that. Actually, it's not an easy thing.
Do you have any examples beyond the chicken?
Beyond that, we'd have to think of other franchises and.
Oh no, I mean in Back to the Future.
Oh,
where they in this they're kind of referencing two instead of one.
No, just the chicken thing. How they set that
Okay.
up in 2, and then they keep it going in 3, and it almost they they Mandela you almost into thinking that this chicken thing was in the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. But then is this when he breaks up with Clara?
No, I think this is the night that they fall in love truly with each other.
And Christopher Lloyd has his first on-screen kiss.
Do you know that for a fact?
That's true.
Okay.
First
Really?
on-screen kiss of his career.
Wow.
Good for him.
making movies at least since 1975. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind
but
of sad.
we
Why? Maybe his characters didn't call to be kissed. Who's gonna kiss that guy in Cuckoo's Nest?
do you remember what
Like-
the name of that movie was that like this movie's playing on that we had no idea?
Huh?
Oh, perfect. So you don't remember.
What do you mean?
It was the movie with Danny DeVito and Mary Steenburgen in it.
Huh?
Okay, hang on. I got to go
Sorry.
through his whole filmography to the beginning.
He's-
Yeah, he's in a movie called No, wait.
oh, the one with Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson, that's what it was. Sorry.
I forget what that movie's called.
There's a movie called Going South.
Yeah.
Going south.
And
I know the cover.
I believe, like,
Yeah.
like I think isn't that the one that John Belushi's in? Like the
Uh,
last
yeah.
one he was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
directed by Jack Nicholson, and it stars Jack Nicholson, Mary Steenburgen, and Christopher Lloyd, and it takes place in the Old West. So I feel like that had to inform their casting in this a little bit. Even though
Yeah.
that movie has no like cultural staying power.
Why would
but,
that inform their casting?
Well, it just feels like that's too strange to
Two
put.
stars from the
those
same
two
movie
stars.
that was
Okay.
same genre.
Yeah.
I could see that. Like
Chemistry,
It does.
you know.
It does make it easier to like see what that is the chemistry test, I guess, and like the wardrobe test to a certain degree.
That's a good point.
But I don't know what happens in that movie, so I don't know. Christopher Lloyd might be a bad guy or something. I don't know, but
Yeah, I don't.
I guess I have to watch
Haven't seen
Going
it.
South.
Guess
Sounds
we all
like
have to
a
watch
weird
Going
movie.
South.
Is it under 90 minutes? Let me check, because maybe
Is
we
it?
could make an event out of it.
If it is,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yours.
145.
Figures.
Bit too long.
Son of a.
But this is when they bond over Jules Verne.
Yes.
And then they kiss.
Which
and
made
then-
me realize I want to read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I should read it.
But he doesn't come home. Wink, wink.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Marty wakes up and we see his little butt.
We do see his little butt.
There's
A
some
couple of
taxi
times, too.
Yeah.
I will say that I was surprised at how little it was when I saw like look at that little thing. You got a
Got a little butt.
a flat butt. It reminds me of like my 3-year-old, my soon to be 3-year-old son, like had a growth spurt and grew upward, but like his weight didn't like
Yeah.
he was still like he didn't put on any more weight. So for a little while there, he just had this weird like flat Michael J. Fox butt. It was really funny looking.
That's
Did you say that
hilarious.
to him?
No, because I was not looking at my son's butt and thinking of Michael J. Fox. I was looking at Michael J. Fox and
Oh
thinking, I
man,
saw-
you should have missed opportunity.
it's just the order of events.
Oh,
Well,
Anyway.
your son will find out about it one day when he's older and decides to take the dive on all podcasts relating to you.
Dad,
And then he'll listen
yeah.
to this and be like, "What the
why
heck?"
did you say that I have a Michael J. Like, what does that
You
mean,
really confused me there.
Dad? Who's Michael J. Fox and why do I have a butt like him?
He's the guy who cured Parkinson's, and your butt is like that.
Single-handedly.
Genetics, you know.
Oh,
So-
man. But yeah, fall in love. Then they're gonna have to break
May or
up.
may not get it on.
May or
Yeah.
may not.
I like to
And-
think
I
they
mean-
did.
Yeah.
I
I
do,
mean,
but-
certainly in the dialogue, it is implied. I think.
That's true. That's true. It is the time though, and he seems to be a bit of a romantic in the like he's a classy guy kind of way. So maybe they just cuddled. I wouldn't be surprised if he
Some
did that
tender
either.
kisses.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
Gazing at the
first date kind of
stars.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. Yeah, he is a gentleman. He's like, and I could see like, and I
Keeps
was
taking
like,
off his
watching-
hat. That's how gentlemanly he is.
And I was watching it with my wife, and I said to her, like, "Do you find like Christopher Lloyd, like, he's not that sexy?" But she's like, he's like probably the most gentlemanly within a fucking 100-mile radius. So of course, that counts for something. And he's smart
Yeah.
and resourceful.
True.
So whatever, looks be damned. Although I don't know where does Christopher Lloyd rank? How fuckable is Christopher Lloyd, you guys? Moving on.
You know this is that kind of show.
I know. That's definitely a conversation for 90 under 90. So if you guys ever want to know like fuck, marry, kill, like Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, or Mary Steenburgen, we'll do that like on 90.
We'll do that on our episode. This well, by the time this one is out, it'll already be out. We're covering Back to the Future 1 specifically to tie
And
in.
we definitely do the fuck, marry, kill for like every chance we
We're
get.
gonna do that.
It's
We're
like
gonna jump
Huey
ahead
Lewis,
and talk about Mary Steenburgen.
Huey Lewis, the news, Michael J. Fox. You got to fuck one, marry one, kill one. Who's it gonna be?
Oh,
I guess
boy.
I'd kill the news.
So, folks, listen to that if you want to hear that part of
we're
it.
not gonna.
Or, I was just kidding. Just like discover for yourself. Like, it's just like whatever,
Just like discover for yourself.
It's just like check it out, whatever. Like, or it's a pretty good show. I think it's all right. Anyway,
It is a good. I
Mhm.
mean that you're plugging early, but it's fine. And makes sense. I mean, it is Back to the Future month, basically.
yeah.
For me, in my
We've-
household.
Yeah, we finally finished Star Wars this month. Well, I guess
What
our
month is this?
listener already know. This is September. That
Oh,
this comes
of course
out.
it's September. Of course it's the Friday of this September.
Oh, and this is a September October series. So, because it takes place in September, this movie takes place in September,
Okay.
and then the other movies take place in October.
Beautiful. We
Oh.
planned it that way.
Yeah, we
That
definitely
is-
planned it that
Surely.
way for sure.
Ah,
Um,
chef's kiss.
But then, okay, so then Doc's like, I gotta stay. I gotta be science minded. I can't think with my heart. Or, I mean, I gotta leave, is what he says. And so he goes to the bar. Another, I'm gonna say it, 10 out of 10 joke. He orders liquor and he just holds it. And that's all he does. And the guy's even like, you remember what happened last time? And they're also worried, and he's like, leave the bottle, but he has no intention of drinking any of it.
I think you're skipping some stuff, but yeah.
Well, I mean, that's when you can fill in.
Oh, but I don't remember.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
He doesn't have a night with her and then he just breaks up with her the next day or the next morning. But that's fine.
I don't remember.
Me neither.
No, the next day Marty sees him walking about sniffing this little
that's
flower
right.
that he's got, and he's all
Boutonniere,
like, "Doc, we got to get ready for this." And Marty, and he's all like, "Isn't life beautiful, Marty?" And
Yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, yeah. But train.
Oh,
we gotta
and that's
deal
what
with this.
they see the tombstone being constructed or
Yeah.
chiseled on, and then they look at the photograph, and Doc's name is gone,
Yeah.
and they surmise that it's going to be Marty's because
Yes.
this duel is going to happen.
And the guy who does the suits is also measuring him for the coffins.
Yeah.
He's creepy.
Uh-huh.
Very creepy.
That's just
Um,
that's all I wanted to say.
Morning, Mr. Eastwood.
Yeah. See, Jared
Perfect.
encapsulates that perfectly.
I know that gentleman is creepy.
He's creepy, you guys.
Oh,
agree.
is the actor also creepy?
No, we're just saying that the character in this
I
movie.
keep getting caught up in some strangeness.
No, the way he sidles up, we're just, and he is. Just
You
like,
insinuated that we
"Morning,
had
Mr.
a there was a Deadline article I hadn't read or something about.
Oh, no.
Guys. I don't know if you know the news about this guy, but
But
creep.
famous for the coffin guy in Back to the Future 3 and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
No. We're
Mr. Eastwood.
that didn't happen, and you're welcome on the show anytime, guy.
Coffin guy.
Maybe actually, I don't really know anything about you. You're tentatively welcome on the show.
Oh,
Anytime.
you don't want him on the show, bro. You
He's
do
creepy.
not want him on
He's
this
creepy.
show.
But yeah. So there's going to be a shootout. The stakes are there. The breakup has happened.
But Marty says, let's do the duel at 8 because they're supposed to be gone by then.
Yeah.
But they're not gone by then.
Yes. And Mary
That's
Carla's like,
one of
I'm
those
gonna leave.
examples of like the first movie where it's just like, why don't you give yourself a little bit more time than 10 minutes to get
know.
from,
Uh-huh.
Right.
you know,
Uh-huh.
like it's it just, I don't know.
But it kind of rules because he does say, and this is like pre Ryan Reynolds being a movie star, and so it's still funny. Marty says, "Why do we always cut it so close?"
What Ryan Reynolds thing are you predicting?
Oh, I
or
just
talking about?
Ryan Reynolds always looking down the camera and telling you how you should react to everything. That's a little
telling us
annoying.
to get Mint Mobile subscriptions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You know.
nowadays, I feel like some of those meta commentary things are just very annoying. But in this,
Would you say overdone?
90. Overdone, certainly.
Yeah.
It's hard
But
to do well
Any
these
fan
days.
of our podcast would know how much you love Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, he's really worn thin on me.
See, Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, Hobbs and
episode?
Shaw. That was basically me
he
screaming
broke
about how much I don't
Micah.
like The Rock and
Even more so Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
And
I was
then
gonna say, is Ryan Reynolds in Hobbs and Shaw? Or are you
He's
just
in it.
like
He is.
Oh, is he really? Oh,
he
God.
is, and
Briefly.
he plays. Let's see, Deadpool, like he always does. So Deadpool's in it.
Wonderful.
And it's pretty annoying. And I can't think about Fast and Furious. Gosh, what a terrible series of movies
Sorry to
that
make you
people like.
relive.
I hate them, and we have to go see Fast 10 in theaters next year because of our podcast.
Right. You're stuck now.
We're part of
Micah,
it now. We're
I
part of
can-
the problem.
I can fully relate to this problem. I will also say two things can be true. Yes, this sucks that you have to do that. Two, you don't actually have to do that though.
Well,
Really,
that's,
you kind of don't have to.
They
I-
cover the franchises, Jared.
I know,
extensively.
but you
I
can
know.
pretend for a moment like, oh, we're gonna wait until it comes into home release, and then you can pretend like, oh no, we just didn't get to, and then you can just keep pushing it back.
Gaslight
Unfortunately,
the audience.
While
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
I'm in your boat on that, but unfortunately, that series is was our most requested.
it really was.
Oh, see?
Our fans unfortunately love them,
Well, actually, a lot of them just wanted to hear what we said about them.
but a lot of them love them.
I know.
And I think I
God.
don't think we ruined it for them.
Yeah, well, I'm
Yeah.
glad. If they want to enjoy them, I'm glad they want to enjoy them. And
That's
please
kinda
keep enjoying them. But don't enjoy them after 10, please. Don't enjoy them enough so that the box office receipts are low enough that we don't have to go see any more of these movies.
Do you
please.
guys think that the only reason that the series is going is that every member of the audience has a podcast and they are obligated to finish the franchise?
We really are part of the problem.
Uh-oh. You might be right. It's the first podcast-only driven franchise that exists.
they interview Vin Diesel. Podcast audiences, baby. It's a gold mine, I'm telling you.
That's more words than he's used to saying.
Yeah.
Okay, but we can't. We've already gone too
Yeah.
far down that rabbit hole. During when Doc Brown is not drunk, but we think he's drunk, he's telling everyone what's going to happen in the future, and they have that one guy. I forget his name, but he talks like this, and
He
he's
sure
the
does.
best, and I love him.
He's one of the bullets in Roger Rabbit too.
Yes.
Really?
Actually,
Joint.
I believe
Yeah.
all three of those guys at the table,
Really?
one of which is Harry Carey Jr.,
Yeah.
are voices of the
Whoa.
bullets in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That's awesome.
Great.
I love that.
You can't help but love it, and he's kind of like, Doc says, yeah, in the future we run, but we do it for fun, and he goes, run for fun? What the hell kind of thing to do is that? It's so great.
Everybody, everywhere will say that Clint Eastwood is the biggest yellow belly in the West.
10 out of 10.
That is a 10 out of 10 joke. I'll give it that.
It really is. It really is.
Because they don't spend a lot of time on it. Like, get it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
He does take the shot though, and he passes out because he's
yeah. And then the bartender
lightweight.
goes, that's a fellow who can't handle his liquor. Love it. I love it. The end of this movie is just so great.
Mhm.
And then they got to sober him up with some weird pepper pickled pipe to pepper,
That wake up juice.
wake up
wake
juice.
up juice. Mhm.
Takes him 10 minutes. He gets up, and then they run to the train.
No, they do the duel,
Oh,
buddy.
they do the duel. You're
Because
right.
outside,
Ooh.
Tannen is counting down.
And he does is it the good, the bad, and the ugly?
I just
don't
wanted to. I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Which he
I did wanna
watches
say-
in too, I think, right?
I want to say the trope that they not only did they set up the chicken thing, they set up the bulletproof vest in 2, and it plays out in 3. And there's no bulletproof vest in 1, is there? Or no,
Yes,
there is.
is.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big one.
Yeah.
I forgot. So yeah, bulletproof vests are like a fucking trope of
think
the
I
Back to the
noticed that.
Future
Yeah, that's
movie. It's
cool. I
weird.
like that.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot about Doc Brown, like, faking his death there at the beginning of one. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Marty gets shot, but he's wearing the iron door.
Yeah. To the stove. And then
he punches Tannen, and
he
gets
chooses not to fight, but he still fights him, but not in the way that he had been provoked to do so.
which is good in Seamus's eyes. So
And in ours as the audience.
okay, yeah. And then he gets knocked into some manure.
Yeah.
But of course.
Great. Every
Manure,
time.
another trope.
Yep.
yes, yep. It's weird what the
Then-
tropes of the BWTFs
The Jones family's
are.
been hauling manure since the 1800s.
Yeah, you gotta have a hey. If you're gonna make a Back to the Future, guys, I'm looking for that manure. If you ever remake it, and of course, I hope you do. I really hope you remake it. I gotta see manure, like a big silo of it, because you got to go bigger.
Yeah, silo.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, what we have happen is like next week after the Ferris Bueller announcement, they're like, we are actually doing a spin-off of Back to the Future, and it's about the manure farmer.
I
And
thought you were gonna say
you find out he's maliciously been like following the Tannins around throughout history
Yeah.
to always
Mhm.
have it ready for him.
Yeah.
For them.
And it's just
he's
a-
been keeping them in business. Yeah.
And remember, we never meet Biff's parents. He lives with his grandma.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
1955, his parents died in a manure accident.
Oh,
Whatever that means.
Yeah. And
that
that's what
sounds
the
like
whole
an
movie.
origin movie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know what I want to see is well, if we're doing like blank a Star Wars story, like a Back to the Future story, I want to see Libyans a Back to the Future story. I want to see the used pinball machine parts.
I want to see the Todd Phillips Joker style
Oh,
Tannen
yeah.
movie.
Oh
which would be
yeah,
great, and treat everything respectfully.
Oh,
That's the
definitely.
one.
Mhm.
That's the
Tannen.
Oscar-winning one.
Tannen in big letters across the
Yeah.
screen. Oh, so
But
good.
which Martin Scorsese movie is it going to be? Which two Martin Scorseses is it a combination of?
Kundun and The Last Temptation of Christ. That's what Tannen is. He's not ready for his fate. He's showing his human side, a little desire, but also Kundun. So there's that.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
When are you guys gonna do Kundun on your podcast?
Whenever they make
'cause
the
that's-
two sequels.
Yeah, when they make a
That's right.
franchise out of it.
I forgot.
You know what sucks though? I've been slowly for years watching all of Martin Scorsese's movies, and that movie is never available. It's not even like on iTunes to buy or anything. Like I can't find that movie.
Yeah,
And
it's
I also
like,
think I saw it when I was a little kid, but I don't know for sure.
It's the redheaded stepchild that, like, I'd say Age of Innocence is a couple of his bastard children. They probably want to bury maybe a
Is that the
little
one
bit
about
more.
the kid?
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
I feel like I saw
think
that
he's
when I was a kid
the
too.
Dalai Lama. Is that?
I don't know. I don't want to
Okay.
say yes.
Yeah. But
But,
if you ever come across a copy, send it my way and I'll cash app you or whatever.
$75 plus $5.
Okay, hang on a second.
That's $80.
Let's keep it, below that.
All right.
Motto.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. A bottle of Kentucky Red Eye. Deal.
There we go. Bringing it back.
There. Shake on it.
So then can we get to the train? Are we at the train
I
yet?
think we're there.
Yes, Tannen gets knocked out, and then they pretty much are like, "Oh, train! This
Yeah.
act is still going. We're still in Act 3, Marty. Keep
Yeah.
going."
shot. Let's all look at our watches. No respect.
They get on the train. He has logs that will like speed it up. Love. They have walkie-talkies that have cans behind them, which is
They've had that. He got that in 1955.
Oh, he
just so
did.
you know.
I thought it
Yeah,
was
the
like
other
a
doc gave them to him.
play on the
Well,
like
No,
having.
no, I'm not saying it's not, but
Oh, okay.
I
It's just
don't
already
know
been in
what
it.
the hell that thing on the back. I mean, he got the walkie-talkies in 1955, and they were these little flat plastic things. But then that big brick thing on the back, I don't know what that is supposed to be. I guess it's just some giant battery
I
thing
guess.
that they had in
I thought it was a
1955.
can.
No,
like
it is, but there's something attached to it.
Oh, okay.
Micah is obsessed. It's like he saw the string attached to them.
It's just so
as we were
funny.
watching the
I
movie.
thought it was just a joke. I didn't remember them
mean, it
ever
probably
getting
was.
them, and I thought the joke was just that the cans were working, and I thought that was so funny. But I guess it wasn't a joke. They actually
No,
got them
I
from
think it is.
somewhere.
I think it is supposed to look like what you thought was funny. Let's just keep going.
Too many layers.
They cheat though. This is the West. They're using a hoverboard at a certain point there, and
Great
that's
moment.
that's
Love it.
anachronistic. If I was no, they could totally use it. I mean, who's to say they can't? It's just
They didn't have DeLoreans in 1885. This movie doesn't work.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're cheaters. They should have the genuine Western experience, and they're robbing themselves of it, frankly.
Such a ripoff.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, I also want to shout out Sean Muir, who is he's been a guest on our Patreon episode of Speed, and he's a big train enthusiast. And I texted him last night and I said, Sean, you gotta get the Doc Brown train. And he responded with, I once made it. And he sent me a picture, and he was not referring to the Doc Brown train, but he got like a model of the DeLorean, and he got that train and like put them together so that it would push the DeLorean.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Freaking awesome.
That is very cool. He also made a model of the band train, Drops of Jupiter, like life size. Like, it was like, hey, soul sister. You know that song? It was that.
We know the movie that won Grammy for song. We're going to keep going. We're on the train. And cinematically, trains are inherently exciting since the day that those trains flew into the theater and everyone ran out screaming.
Yeah.
We love trains.
from the very first film. Like, his low is the guy shooting, wasn't it? Like that. But that's I found that very funny. I'm sorry. Please continue.
So we love it, and it just looks great, and Zemeckis is good at shooting movies, so it's just like thrilling. I just love
he's
it.
good at his job.
And the hoverboard catching Clara, awesome.
Love it too that they're like, we can't bring her, it just would mess everything up. And then it's like, now we have no choice, we're just doing it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Gets
We'll
up to
figure it out
88
later,
miles. They get up to
Where's
88.
Einstein?
What?
Where's Einstein?
I think he's in 1985.
Yeah.
I hope he's being fed.
What is it Marty said? Oh, in the letter that Doc sent him, he says, please take care of Einstein for me.
I'm giving you my dog, Marty.
Yeah.
I
That's
hope your
assuming
parents
that
don't mind.
That's assuming Marty actually does that, though. He's too busy looking for Doc. I think that dog is malnourished.
But he can travel to 10 minutes before the dog dies and save the dog's life.
That's what they mean by save the dog in that screenwriting book.
Time travel. Just put it, if you're stuck on a story and you're writing it, have you considered time travel?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, 88 miles per hour over the canyon, and now it's called the Emmett Canyon.
No, the
Eastwood
Canyon. Oh,
Eastwood
that's
Ravine.
right. Funny.
Which is like, what does Clint Eastwood think about? Like, why is that named after me?
Or maybe he's named after the canyon.
Or maybe he's not named Clint Eastwood if everyone thinks he's a yellow belly.
What
and
would
he's just
Clint
someone
Eastwood's
else.
alternate name be?
Yeah.
I'd like to think it's, well, I'll come up with it later.
What did you say?
I said, what do you guys think Clint Eastwood's name would be if it wasn't Clint Eastwood? Like, yeah, that's a big question. I'll think about that.
I don't think it'd be Clint Eastwood, though.
Robert Redford.
I'm
Jeff
Robert Redford. Jeff Westworld. Robert Redford, Jeff Westworld. Okay. All right.
You got the answer so fast.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
But then he makes it to 1985. makes it on the train, jumps out when another train of 1885 crashes into it and destroys the time machine. And Marty says, well, it destroyed the time machine. And you're like, Doc's never going to make it back.
But that's what Doc wanted.
Yeah.
He was going to destroy it.
He goes, he finds Jennifer. She's still on the bench from the alternate time zone that they entered. And he sees the
She had a weird dream.
yeah.
And it's just her memories. But to her, it's a dream.
Yeah.
And then then he gets the truck. He has the truck, and Flea or Needles is like, dude, let's race. And this is like the race where Marty gets injured. I think this is after the Doc stuff. But
No, Doc's the last like shot of the movie.
okay, but
yeah, they go back.
that's right. But this is the
To the future.
Uh-huh. This is the one where Marty was supposed to ram into that Rolls Royce, hurt his hand, and he doesn't play music anymore, and he becomes a loser.
Right.
But it doesn't happen. He doesn't do it.
Throws it in reverse.
Yep. And then Jennifer finds this paper in her pocket that says, you're fired. It's a fax from some weird company, and then it disappears.
And hence, they've changed the future, to which Doc Brown will later say something to the effect of, your future is not written. You can create your own future. And we're left sobbing in the theaters at Doc Brown's wise words.
Mhm.
Covered in tears.
Mhm.
Just, they can't stop.
But then, then
his
Doc
little
Brown
son
does come
points
in.
to his junk when they do that push in, and we laugh at that. We think that's great,
What?
you know.
Watch
Does
it really?
You have to if you okay.
Yeah.
Points at
You
Yeah.
can see it slowed down on YouTube. There's a shot when they're pushing in on Doc and he's talking to Marty about everything. The
The
little
kid.
kid, he's like, goes like this to the camera.
Oh,
He
no.
beckons
To his-
it and then points at his crotch, like with a smirk on his face. It's very subtle, but yeah, it's like either Jules or Vern, one of those little shits. And he
Wow.
points to his
So-
dick.
So do you think that Michael J. Fox maybe has some sort of curse on film movies?
You talking about Teen Wolf?
Because we got Teen Wolf and this, and they both involve.
No, I recently watched Teen Wolf, and it is literally the last freeze frame
Yeah,
shot. So
yeah.
that dick is on that screen for just like the
It's
last like
crazy.
30-second slow fade. It's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
so unbelievable that it wasn't noticed because it's pretty. Because I just skipped to the end to see this famous shot, and I was like,
I gotta see that dick.
well, I was just like, this is too unbelievable. I bet it's just like a weird looking shirt or
Sure.
something. You
Mhm.
press play. It's pretty
It's
obvious.
clear
It's
as
out
day.
there. And imagine you're the producers and you're watching the first cut in a screening room.
Right.
Crazy that made it through in a PG movie.
But please tell me that you actually like watched the remainder of Teen Wolf, and that's
I have
not the only
I've
reason.
not seen the movie.
It's
Oh.
good. I like
That's-
Teen Wolf. Yeah.
It's good.
We grew up on Teen Wolf too,
We
though.
grew
so
up
that
on Teen Wolf.
might have colored our childhood a little
That's
bit.
true. It may not be very good for somebody who's only coming to it now. There's some really bad, like, oh, this is a cheap movie.
Yeah.
Is
What
it-
I like about it is it's about like popularity and like it's like a social politics of high school too. It's not just, hey, he's a teen wolf. Like
Oh, and I love how much lacrosse is in the movie, just like
Oh.
that show. No,
what, lacrosse?
the Teen Wolf show, isn't it like all about lacrosse?
Oh,
like,
I was
instead of
talking about the
basketball?
movie. Yeah, well, the second one's wrestling, and then the show, I guess, is lacrosse. Yeah,
Is it Jason
weird.
Bateman? And
In the
in
second
the
two?
one,
second
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What?
Um,
I feel like
that
I
one's
asked
not
that in
very
our first
good.
episode.
I think so. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just
No, I know.
laughing
I'm
that we're
just
talking
thinking
about
about
Teen Wolf.
doesn't get any. Hey, more people should be talking about Teen Wolf.
Hey,
I
I,
would like
gotta.
to watch it.
Oh no, it's not. I was gonna say, is it on over 90? No. I don't care that much about Teen Wolf. I
Yeah,
guess.
neither of us care that much about it, but you know.
I think the exact right amount of people still talk about Teen Wolf. That's the legacy, I think.
Yeah,
Hey man,
maybe you're
when
right.
when there's a show called Teen Wolf that's been running for 6 seasons, people are
Yeah.
going to go back and be like, wait a minute, there's another movie called Teen Wolf?
Yeah.
Probably
to back
bigger
up
than
Micah's
ever.
point, the conversation continues with the show, you know. So I'm glad we're talking about Teen Wolf. What other movie are we talking about here?
Well, Doc Brown's train is cool, and Sean, I think you should work on that, even though that's a big ask. But that would be cool.
I think it'd be fun to work on.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is one of your interests, so actually that probably would be fun, and it would be hard for someone like me who that isn't one of my interests to do. But you, I think you'd dig it.
Sean, get to it, buddy. Just kidding, sort of.
But that's the movie, right?
That's the series.
Yeah, that's
Nice
it.
Nice and tight.
Yes. Love that.
I appreciated that so much this viewing. I was like, man,
Yeah.
this movie just moves and we're done in less than 2 hours.
Yep.
I don't know why I thought that this movie was slow the first couple times, because it really does just go beat, like the first movie, you know, where it's just like boom, 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 we're done.
Mhm.
It's a great series.
Great. I'm glad that it's only 3 movies.
Yeah.
Because it's all wonderful. But the only reason I wish it would be longer is because we cover a lot of slog in series that we cover where we hit a point where they should have stopped a long time ago.
Yeah.
So it's like this has been just such a great palate cleanser that I'm sad that it's ending.
Yeah.
But also
You
they
could-
shouldn't make more.
You could play the game, the video game, and kind
True.
of get like a 4th story.
Yeah.
A Macaw Podcast Universe episode about the point and click Back to the Future game that
Yeah.
came out in 2012, I think.
Something like that.
I'm going to do a hard
Yeah.
pass on that.
Biff's
But
a gangster in that one. Like one of the timelines is he's an old 1920s gangster.
No, that
Okay.
now you got me.
And Marty teams up with Doc's teenage self too.
Ooh, fun.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Age appropriate finally.
Yeah.
So since you mentioned that, I mean, let's say what we're covering next, Jordan.
Yeah, you'll have to just say it because I'm always unsure.
It's got like, I think 10 movies.
Is it one of our
Uh-oh.
best friends stars in it? Character? Or one of our favorite characters stars in it?
Yeah.
Mm.
He's got
He's
Big
in my
old
dreams.
claws, and he visits people, and he makes them not leave that dream world. We're doing A Nightmare on Elm Street, folks.
Right
So
on.
excited.
That's gonna be good.
I'm very excited for that. That's
Yeah,
Good one.
the palate cleanse continues. That'll be nothing but fun times.
Yeah.
I think you'll get to a point in Nightmare on Elm Street where you're like, these movies don't need to happen, but you'll also be like, but they're still surprisingly entertaining.
I mean, that's how we felt when we saw the second one, which I know is only number 2 in the whole thing. But it was like, what is happening? I love every second, but this is weird.
We have watched 5.
Uh-huh.
I think 2 of them are fantastic, and the other 3 I would watch like any night because they're freaking so fun to watch, even though they're not that good.
I'm worried though, because I'm sure the more recent ones are just straight up boring.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
That's my fear.
The remake is
I have
rough.
seen the remake.
Yeah.
That was the first one I saw.
Oh, is it fun?
Well, then
I-
the hard part's over, I think.
Yeah.
Well-
you've actually
Yeah.
gotten through the worst of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like like a bunch of friends over kind
Yeah.
of thing, and we're watching a scary movie that, so I think I also thought that scary movies couldn't be good. So there's a lot going on in the psychology.
You've changed and grown so much
Yeah.
since then.
But yeah, that's what we'll be covering next. But I want to hear what you two have to plug.
Oh, well, you can obviously hear our show every week, 90 Under 90, free on pretty much every platform you can get podcasts. And also 90 Under 90, our patreon.com/90 Under 90 for $1 a month. You can get everything that we do. You will guaranteed once a month episode of 90 Over 90, where we have a very tightly curated list of 90 movies that we will only do once, and then we won't be going over that. This month on our show, where we are covering Back to the Future 1. On 90 Under 90 proper, we have covered 2 of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. If you want to hear alternate takes on it after you listen to the Macaws discuss
You've
it.
spoken to the director of one of the movies.
That's true. We did. We spoke
We
to
sure
Rachel
did.
Talalay, director of Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. That was a great interview that we have. You can find that in our feed. And
I will
yeah.
probably listen to that for research, because since I haven't seen the movie, I've been saving listening to that episode.
Oh, sure.
But when
And then
we watch it-
eventually we will also cover New Nightmare on our 90 Over 90. I don't know when we'll get to that, but just keeping that Nightmare on Elm Street going.
Awesome.
Yep. And we got a movie. It's been out since January of 2021 called An Intervention. and intervention, not the intervention, not intervention. You can find that Amazon Prime, Tubi, Google Play, Roku channel, and then we got another movie coming out realistically next year. And Micah scores the main theme. It's great. So
I get to do the Huey Lewis type of thing where I come in and I do Power of Love.
Oh man, it'd be great if you could play the guy like on the megaphone. Like if we could somehow get a guy on a megaphone scene, that would be well, we got to reshoot some things.
Yeah, give me the call. As for us this month on our Patreon, we're doing The Protector 2, and I would imagine, because we're recording this in advance, that you will probably be able to buy pre-orders for my album right now, which should be pretty exciting. I think for the first time ever, I'll be doing vinyl, but it's only the singles because that's all I can afford.
Cool.
To be straight and honest with everybody. So pre-order like crazy. The album comes out November 4th. Listen to it. Listen to the songs. Share them, please. All that stuff. But since you're the guest here, more importantly, hang out with the 90 Under 90 boys.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, our shows are, they make a nice double feature.
They do.
If
they
you
really
choose
do.
to listen to two people talk fairly intelligently about a movie franchise, and then two people doing silly voices and do anything but talk intelligently about the movie.
That's right.
I don't know about intelligent. We talked about pinwheels and harmonicas for a long time.
I'm waiting because we're on this one. We dumbed it down.
I'm waiting on that harmonica pinwheel. The picture, the artwork, like basically the movie now, the book,
the movie now,
everything. Yeah.
Well, you're always welcome on the show. You're some of our favorite guests. You have the record. Nobody's been on the show as many times as you guys. So
really, wow, what an honor! Thank you.
Great.
Well,
That's
great.
Any other franchise? I don't want to speak for Dan, but I'll happily join on anything you want us to speak about.
Yes.
Awesome.
And hopefully you two will both be on our show again at some point in the not too distant future.
Yes.
Oh, we will.
Yes, please.
We will. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next week for A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Bye.
Yeah. I gotta. I mean, I hope I'm not unpacking anything here or going to have you unpack anything. But what gives, Jordan? Not a fan of Brendan Fraser?
I didn't tell her about this. She hasn't heard it.
No.
What?
He is grating. He is
really
awful. Happy for him.
Man.
He's going to be in a Scorsese movie. That's what it is.
Well, I think there was something about Flowers of the Killer Moon, but I will not believe that exists until it is
Wish every happiness
shown.
for him, but I'm out. I mean, if he was in a Scorsese movie, I would watch it. But
I mean, just like always, or like
I saw The Mummy when I was a kid, and I think I was too young to watch it, so it really scared me for one. But I just remember hating him. As a kid, he was so annoying to me.
No, okay. I mean, that makes sense. Obviously you guys are younger and therefore would not have been on board with the, you wouldn't have been.
Maybe I could see how he could be
Oh,
grading.
and then he's in that monkey movie?
Monkey Bone?
And
George of the Jungle?
Oh my gosh. I hate that movie. But I haven't
Monkey
seen the whole
Bone?
movie. I haven't
Yeah,
seen
that's a tough one.
You were not on board since Encino Man like Dan and I were.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So there it is. I mean, I guess we're predisposed to loving everything he does.
That's great.
I mean, but it is funny. So on their episode, and you know what? I'm keeping this in the episode. This is going to be like post-credit scene Marvel. So for listeners, this is 90 Under 90, but you have to sign up for their Patreon to hear their Pulp Fiction episode. And in that episode, Jeremy and Dan were both just like, I don't remember why you mentioned Brendan Fraser, but you just brought him up and you said, hey, unanimously everyone agrees he's great and everybody loves him. To which I said, well, meet Jordan McCaw. She does not love him.
Hey,
And then I
perfectly
just
fine.
rudely confronted her in a very attacking manner.
Brendan Fraser was Vincent Vega in Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Everybody
That's what
knows
it
that.
was.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So it's relevant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love him in that movie.
He's dancing with Uma Thurman. It's great. Yeah.
How can you not like that?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so see you later, everybody. That's the end of the episode after the post-credit scene. Now we can actually record the episode. What do you guys think?
Let's do
All
it.
right.